rotate on back Kyria. Waiting on the other side. We should add to it that these, I mean, now 7 players are the only players that are not inside the next circle just yet. Everyone else is settled, split up, you know, got themselves into good positions, while we're seeing what's going on down towards the southern bridge. Fate in the meantime. Here's Cobra just on the other side. Unfortunate for Cobra, I say that now. No, his spider senses tinkle, forcing him away, but now he's going the other direction. Spider sense not activated, apparently.
The worry for me is I think Fate will be able to get a knock here. I'm not like, but what does he do after he gets the knock? That's what I want to know. What's the plan? Flush and run? Flush and call teammates?
Or Art finds it with the bold action.
Stay.
Так, народ, всем здорово.
Could he have stayed prone and waited for the teammate to come and res?
That would have been a play, but you don't know where their teammate is.
У нас сейчас идет ПКС 7. Я опоздал по уважительной причине. Сейчас идет вторая игра. Так, сейчас уведомления везде отправлю. И нам надо еще качество. Может быть, на YouTube глянем. На YouTube обычно качество поинтереснее. Так, у нас здесь участвует Артикс. Поэтому я решил запуститься, посмотреть с вами. Может быть, под лайтовый пивасик.
Butchered with one single bullet. Great shot, Exalt off to a good start here, finding themselves their first kill of the match. We'll see what more they can find as they start their rotation towards the circle as well. Na'Vi, decent position they've got for themselves. Pretty center circle, still a couple of teams around them, and I think it's going to be this way for a while. But once again, similar to what we saw with them playing on school in the previous games, set up center and do damage to
Так,
teams around you.
сейчас уведомление отправлю и начнем. Покомментирую вам. Как слышно? Трансляцию слышно вам? Дайте инфу.
Yeah, it's never easy. I mean, you think you're splitting and you have all the room in the world, but all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, there's now a team in between us.
Привет всем, здорово, здорово.
Like ability to regroup before is now not so much. Pink Pony, full speed forward they go. The Pink Venom in the meantime has one player left trying to sneak his way across. Unfortunately, while Gyria is looking for it, he ain't spotting Katie. Issue for Katie could become, where is your vehicle? He has 2 teammates already inside the circle. You can see them here, sitting ready and waiting on the southern side of the next circle in chopsticks, but Katie, that's far. Nowhere near.
Как дела? Как дела? Почитай в Телеграме, есть инфа. Так, ну все. Я сегодня дома один, поэтому заказал себе шаурму. И поставил в холодильник пивас. Так что сегодня мы с вами посидим с кайфом. Ну что, я вообще целый месяц не интересовался пабгом. Не знаю, какие команды сейчас играют. Это у нас групповая стадия. Группа А играет. В этой группе как раз таки у нас команда Артикса. По-моему, она называется Exalt, если я не ошибаюсь. А, вон Риныч играет. У них еще и 16 ПТС, они на первом месте. 10 хилов, уверенно, походу, играют. А кто у них там в команде? Гиря, Зубила, Рина, Лок. И кто четвертый, интересно. В общем, я так понял, СНГ команд здесь, ну, как минимум 4 я вижу. Да у меня-то симптомов нету, чраза. Так. Артикс сидят вон рядом с могилками. Зона от них уходит. Я вижу ликвиды переименованные. Джимс, Вард, Мекси. По-моему, По-моему, это последняя, да, команда ликвидов? Ну, как Еликай и Ицкрис. Команда Эйс у них. Они в 6-е сейчас в таблице. Это у нас вторая игра. Первую игру я пропустил. К сожалению. ТСМ Айра же в ТСМ был, нет? ТСМ тоже все. Ликвиды недавно ушли из пабга. Слушайте, ну... Печальная история у пабга сейчас началась. Совсем печальная прямо. Вторая волна спада. Турки тут втроем запушили нокнутого пацана. Минус Гиря, минус Риныч. Но они лежат в ноке, но там их не подымет тиммейт, я так понимаю. Тиммейт уже все. OG, что за команда? Первый раз вижу, вообще просто не знаю, что за типы. Первый раз вижу их ники. Как и команда, которая напротив них сидит, вот это ПВ. Не знаю, как она расшифровывается. Какое полное название. Тоже первый раз их вижу. Даже не могу сказать, откуда они и кто. Надо смотреть, наверное, какую-то таблицу, наверное, надо смотреть, если она вообще существует. А качество на Твиче очень плохое. Сейчас посмотрю, может быть, на ютубчике получше качество есть. Ну прям картинка крошится, шо капец. Давайте посмотрим, как нам, как ютубчик. По-моему, ютубчик получше, поинтереснее картинка. Ой-ой-ой, хорошо. Но Айра тут не уходит никуда, он отправляется в лобби. Так, Миракью, Майкл, Растанмар, подожди, это что, это инсы у нас были или кто это были? Так, у нас рассыпается команда Артикса, они сейчас забыли зажаты, умирают они. Вдвоем, два игрока команды X. Или они полностью сдохли, просто медленно работает табличка. Да, табличка очень медленно работает, они отлетают в топ-15. Это очень печально. Пока, видимо, нет уверенности у них. Там Артикс, Фейт, Молодость и кто четвертый, я не знаю, надо посмотреть. Как думаете, что-то субтитры включились? По-моему, здесь тоже, да, сыпется? Даже не знаю, где качество хуже. Пока не могу понять, где качество хуже, чат. Get there maybe in like phase 6 and casually grabs 5 kills. We'll have to wait and see. Oh, clip. Oh, clip. Oh, clip. Remember. Ну вот что-то на карте происходит, да? Настолько вот эта первая половина игры. Нави тут у нас. Так, Зубила, по-моему, последний оставался, тоже отлетает. В топ-14 они, или в топ-13 уже отлетают, да? Слишком медленно у них индикация работает слева в табличке. Так, кто там, Нейлоп был или кто? Не вижу. А, это энтропики, понятно. Очень много команд поменяли название, поменяли составы, видимо. Перетасовались. Немножечко, я так понимаю, Артикс поторопились заезжать. И заехали в жопу, блин, в такую, что... Мама дорогая. А эта команда тоже приехала. Сейчас там эйсы начнут по ним фигачить. Я полагаю, должны они страдать в этой яме. Раскинули смоки. Один уже в ноке. Сверху с грачей и ликвиды по ним стреляют еще. На ровном месте типа потеряли. 2 хаешки на лицо получил. Встали в очень такой открытой позиции, я не знаю. Я думал, это какой-то повтор в замедленном показывают. А нет, это... Они же там никуда не торопятся. Сзади по шапке Аля получил. Нейлоп в ноке. Но они тут должны подниматься, если Нави не пойдут их душить. Но они не могут их душить, потому что там open. Нави там сами терпят. Ой. А вон еще Гусяра, Лайош, Гидрокс тоже СНГшные типы. Не знаю, что за команда где. Или ГДЕ, я не знаю, как там у них аббревиатурка их считается. Ну, энтропики тут тоже должны помирать. В Нави Ибах играет? What? Мелман, Экзампл, Аля. Where you've got cover and you can look down on everyone else, but it's easier said than done. Once you get there, it's great, but rotating into that position on the high ground, as soon as you have 2 teams contesting it, I think it's virtually impossible for a third. Ой-ой-ой-ой-ой-ой. Очень больно получил бэтбой. Ну я не знаю, какой тут уровень игры, но что-то...
As early, we did not, at least I didn't think they were gonna amount to this much, but Katie and Vox, they've done everything they could to stay put, and let's see if they're gonna continue to do so. Scream, bullets fired now, he's been seen, still has a little bit of body.
Ой, сейчас его задрайвбать должны. Зачем стрелял? Лучше бы повалялся, там у него машина целая была. Ну, здесь же эти ребята отправляются в лобби. На самом деле сейчас с горы не контролят ликвидов, поэтому ликвиды сейчас будут выходить и фармить весь низ, всю яму. Никто им уже помешать не может, никто их контролить не может. Аля делает фраг, должен доедать его. Система какая поинтов-то? Дефолтная, походу? Ну и потеряли экзампла. Всем привет, здорово, Смайл.
I don't know what's going on here, but I'm loving all of the early game action for sure. Navi and BBL, only one of these teams, based on where they are now, will be...
Ну, Нави надо по-любому BBL закрывать, так или иначе. Сейчас они играют 3 в 2. А, они не подняли его, да, не успел он. Ну, сейчас должны поднимать, он вроде... Может еще раскидывать дальше смоки. Смэш, правда, поднимает куёпту, но там должны уже хаешки лететь. Отлично. Моликом 2-й раз его нокнули, и, скорее всего, уже все, не дадут его поднимать. Он еще не догорел, но у него 2-й нок. Все, он умирает. Я не понял, Ивана так и не подняли или что? Подняли, но сейчас же его снова могут нокнуть. Мелман очень плохо лег, но по нему, видимо, нету фокуса. Иван опять в ноке, все, его уже доедают. Почему-то Аля не пошел дальше. Ну, у него там понятно, что дорожка, тропинка опена. Смэш сейчас нокнется. Все, в смэш в ноке, Али можно вперед играть. Вперед ему надо даже играть, наверное. Все, отлично, закрыли Виберий, но потеряли при этом... Ибаха потеряли.
It's an interesting situation of so many fights having been had on the southern side, whereas up to the north.
Ликвиды вообще с кайфом держат позиционку очень широко. Сейчас смотрят зону. Что будут делать? Кто там? Дельта или Фета? Как Фела? Что эта команда будет делать? Вот вопрос. Они должны играть... Они не могут играть вроде как по ЛГ, потому что снизу сидит команда, которая будет подниматься вверх. Они вряд ли будут играть на церковь, на руины. Ой-ой-ой, нельзя нок ловить. Нави сейчас очень сильно контролят, но... Смотрите, команда заходит этой... Господи, команда Вин. Как она называет? Надо посмотреть, короче. Если они сейчас будут назить чувакам из команды где, то, в принципе, Нави могут играть. Но пока этого не происходит, и сейчас эти Фела закусятся с этими ребятами. Нави раскидывали смоки, но там они на тоненького живут пока, короче. Лаешь в ноки... лаешь в ноки, Гидрокса доедают. Но они в полной диспозиции, они сейчас развалятся, так или иначе.
Very ballsy play there. Low health, a low helmet, low vest, and he still goes. Can I get that last bullet in? Just want to double check.
Где мой курьер вообще с моей шавухой? Капец он долгий. But if there's a way for me to get this over with now, that helps the rest of my team as well.
And all of this happens because he had Michael over the hilltop, because he knew as long as Michael is present on the west side.
Ну все, он умирает. Там хорошая ХЕ. Что? Она перелетела немножечко, да? И это тоже перелетело. Урон нанесла, у него смог кончается, и он умирает. Его уже 4 человека прессуют, тут без вариантов. Нави все еще живые. Но им тяжко. Они дали один нок. Ой, Али сейчас нокнется. В плохую позицию он вышел. Все, Нави закрываются. Ну и Растан Мартом сейчас выйдут этим ребятам где в ухо прямо. Ну, тут... Ликвидом фартит зоной, конечно. Но они тоже сейчас будут выходить в open. Самая лучшая позиция сейчас у ребят из команды где? Просто она ультимативная. Если они смогут нормально пофайтиться с Фелой, то, думаю, тут все в их руках. Дали нок по Майклу. Тиску сейчас тоже в ноке будет. Ну все. 3 нока, остался только Миракью на ногах. GDE! For GDE, I thought this had gotten fellas written all over it, but no. GDE prevails and когда, говорит, в Нави... Да, наберешь, братан. Ну, Мирок ее занозить может, конечно, но он долго не поживет. Он рассыпаться должен вообще быстро. Все, он рассыпался. У нас пацаны Васку ставят машины, я так понимаю, выходят. Их двое, да? И ликвиды сейчас будут куда-то влетать. 4 в машине. What the fuck, что? Но им надо драйвбаить сейчас этих пацанов. А у них там яма, походу, есть. Хайрус, здорово.
Okay,
Over
good.
peekers, well, you're inside the circle.
Слушайте, ну, нормально, нормально. Они там яму себе...
Only two more teams to deal with, and this is where the smokes come in play.
Yeah, over peekers here, trying to,
Втроем за одно дерево теперь.
as the dominant force in the
Слушайте, ну
middle.
сейчас у них
They're not trying to close everyone out right this
все
second.
хорошо.
If they're given the opportunity, they will, of course.
Единственное, что и команда ГДЕ, и команда AF, они будут назить только ликвидом. А, вот сейчас хороший будет, хороший ног должен быть. А где урон от ХЕ вообще? PUBG что-то переделали? Все, все-таки ног есть. И последнее. Мимо. Ну, Джимс должен, да и Джимс должен просто, да это. Сейчас машина откатится от дерева, и Джимс должен забирать. А, ну... Ну вот, как бы, вышли ребята слева и начали назить. Но... Та команда закрылась, и ликвидом сейчас станет легче, потому что они будут перед ребятами из ГДЕ в хорошей позиции, на самом деле. Они все в зоне, а ребятам из ГДЕ надо играть по опену. А, слушайте, я же в настройках NVIDIA не сделал, не поправил все как надо, блин. Думаю, че за херня еще? Сейчас сделаю. Вот так вот. Настройки экрана после Таркова не изменял.
But it is still possible for GDE here to come out the victors. They have to move more, and they're more split. So the first knock in this situation is almost all important for GDE. If one of their players gets knocked first, this is such a hard battle to win.
They have the ridge to work with, but only for so much longer.
Я выкручиваю так цвета, конечно. Как ты будешь видеть картинку с монитора-то моего?
While their name would say otherwise, they're smart in kind of holding back, knowing that they have to peek on over no reason to do the aggressive peek as long as the opponents still have cover. Now just a tree to work.
Мне кажется, моя шаурма будет уже невкусная. Чувак вообще не спешит, капец. Просто вообще не спешит.
This has gotten over peekers written all over it.
Exactly. The overpeakers comms will be saying they know there's one in the smoke here. Mixie's got him
Было лучше.
know that the other player isn't with him, so they got them split. Keep eyes out. No! Kill still could spoil the party. Beautiful turn from Clip.
Beautiful!
With those bolt actions all game long, and he's done something different.
Айсбой, Kill, Steel. Кто вообще такие? Чё за типы? Замаслен? Замаслен ли?
Versus Clip, they know of his approximate position, and in a second they will know exactly where he is because there's only really one.
Чувак слишком, по-моему, перепаниковал.
Not gonna happen. They go down, but great performance from GDE in the end, though. Overpeakers 10-kill win, solid performance from the former Liquid boys.
Fantastic game from them. They take home the chicken.
Fantastic game, говорит он. Ага. Если бы Артикс до финала дожил, был бы Fantastic game. Артикс там сдох, как чепуха, блин. Сейчас напишу ему в Телеграм.
I'm loving the fact that they stayed on the hillside for as long as they did. So many other teams would be tempted to push down early when they hear fellas getting pretty much torn apart by GD. Yeah. It goes, oh, this is going to be our chance. And a lot of times earlier, they could have pushed down to aggress, but they said, no, we value our high ground more than a potential 1 or 2 kills that could in the end get us killed. So smart for them to stay up there for as long as they did, and in the end getting themselves the win.
So we're 2 games down now on
Все, написал ему.
Playoffs here at PCS 7. That was a delightful game. Let's go ahead and see what the desk had to think about it.
I mean, what I thought about it, as much as I want to give, oh, look at the puppy. We've got a little floof joining the desk now.
Ну что, ждем следующую игру.
When you're sitting there stroking. There you go.
А я жду свою шавуху, которая должна быть вот-вот уже у меня. Он уже подходит к моему дому. Он, походу, реально пешком идет, блин, с моей шавухой. Засранец. Они сейчас вроде все на великах ездят. А он пешком. Так, ну тогда мы за пивасиком и за шавухой.
Overpeakers, former Liquid, they managed to turn this one around and get 10 kills and 10 points for the win. So that's a big 20 kill game here. And when we're just playing 12 games total for top 4, this is massive. They need to have a start like this. And yeah, it's really great to see that these guys are able to do this that early.
Yeah, for sure. Overpeakers had a great spot here. Sorry, Sam, to interrupt you. But as you were saying about GDE, I was also kind of impressed. Kill still even takes this top spot here with the kills overall. And their fights throughout Ruins, what they had to do against what was effectively so many angles onto them, and then they prevailed after all of the knocks happening to them. Very impressive stuff for this kind of lobby.
I enjoyed with GDE where they won up the fellas in the final 4 Avenger. I don't know if you remember that specific fight where they were able to ultimately eliminate fellas, and I was curious as to how they were able to do that.
They shot them, Sam. That's what they did.
I mean,
yeah, no.
In terms of their positioning,
I'll break it down a little bit more.
cheeky.
Yeah, I got you on that one. But I'll say this: I was surprised that Fellas actually pushed aggressively on them, even though that they might have had the upper hand and opportunity in it.
Ну, чё не звонит домофон?
Good bridge to work with, and some smokes that worked in well. So I would have preferred to see Fellas maybe like deny them or gatekeep them into the later circle, rather than trying to clear them early and take their position. And I would have liked to seen a little bit more utility if they had that available. I'm not sure if they had that to be in the opening.
Пошел встречать свою шавуху, чат.
Some more openings on that. And obviously Clip here with some fantastic shots. And I really love Clip has been, you know, steadily using the bolt action and actually succeeding with it here. Playing is insane. And that shot as well on Killsell just destroyed him completely there. So he's obviously our focus player.
Look at that, 5 kills for him, 4 knocks as well, Clip. I mean, but this is also a player, you can change the team name, but this is a legendary lineup, right? And Clip is one of those players that when you're coming into an event like this, Kailash, you expect him to pop off, and that's what he did. Yeah,
never mind their team being called Overpeakers. OP really does exemplify someone like Clip. He is very powerful. I mean, even towards the end, as Martin was kind of alluding to just then, that turn on to Killstill when he has got himself this scary angle. I mean, that guy, Killstill, during this game was a huge threat. And if Clib, of all people, isn't the one to shut him down on the left-hand side, I don't know who's going to at that point, because GDE was really feeling it this game. I loved the momentum they were carrying from Ruins, constantly being able to take out the teams, especially Fellas, of all teams, as you guys were talking about before. So yeah, very impressed by GDE overall.
Another team, though, that can be happy. I mean, it is only 2 games, but still, consistent performance in 2 games is good. Austrian Force. I mean, this is good for them because they're finishing high up on the leaderboard. And right now, you've got to finish in the top 4 of this group, right? We know that the likes of Na'Vi are going to just warm up and steadily become a bigger and bigger threat. So good for them to get those early points in, Kailash.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not like, I mean, there are moments where you might think to yourself, oh, they're catching circle. I still think actually there are moments where they're putting themselves in the smart central positions and they're able to play from it. You look at this lineup and they are no slouches whatsoever. Tylers, we keep seeing the picture of him lay out. He is so happy to be here with his big beaming smile, and they're happy to be in the center of these circles, taking pot shots at anybody they can. So yeah, happy to see also Austrian Forces doing well 2 games in a row.
Avenger, when you look at game 2 overall, there was just no pause, really. Constant fights, constantly everyone trying to shoot everyone else. But normally you get a little bit of an ebb and flow in the pace of the game. Are you expecting this throughout, or do you think it is just everyone feeling one another out, or is it going to be these constant non-stop fights going on?
But you can definitely see, if you look at from like more of a big picture, macro, you can definitely tell that some of the guys that have a lot of experience, they are taking advantage of these teams that maybe not have as much experience, because there are so many teams alive towards the late game. You can see teams like Fellas, they are playing the edge, they're trying to make sure that they're, you know, full 4-man roster alive, and then they're pushing into some situations where they know they're gonna try to have the upper hand over Pegas, taking some of the compounds they know that they can play basically out from anywhere. That compound that they had on the high ground, no matter where it goes, you can continue from it. If you want to go east, west, south, northwest, anywhere you can go easily from that. So they took that compound early on, knowing that if you have to exit it, you can go anywhere from that. And it's the other case with Austrian Force compound. You can't really get out of it in the end. You end up always being kind of locked in if you don't take control.
Как так можно? Сбагрил Машу, а сам шавуху пивасик норм. Кого сбагрил? Че, обалдели? Так. А я сегодня такой пришел в магазин, вот сейчас, думаю, Ну, ПКС идет, можно взять пивас. Думаю. Угу. Захожу такое, что-то подхожу, выбираю. В упор не вижу объявления, которые там висят. А оказывается, блин. А оказывается, что сегодня 1 сентября. Черт подери. У меня еще пломба выпала. Мне надо к стоматологу ехать. Фу. Капец. Сейчас как начну кушать, офигею. Так. Обзор на шавуху. Шавуха. Очень такая горяченькая еще. Конфетки. Даже салфеток положили. Целую пачку, ё-моё. Нормас. И пакет для мусора мне дали. Так. Шавуха. Давно я не ел шавуху. Чё, чат? Травлю вам душу, смотрите какая. Уф.
I'll get a stuffed one just so we have no sound interruptions because I play some games with James now and then quite a lot actually.
Сегодня же запретили, чтобы мама и папа сильно не радовались, что детей в школу повели.
Which teams are moving up into those top spots for Group A. But in the interim, I mean, this is the thing, it's really difficult. I would say up until about the fourth.
Когда эту же шаурму покупаешь у них на месте, они делают ее намного сочнее, чем она сейчас. Я думаю, это связано с тем, что на доставку, наверное, такая сочная не доезжает. Хорошо, что я с пивом. Артикса команда на 14 строчке, у них 2 килла, 2 поинта.
Colors, that was what I mentioned beforehand, that consistency in game 1 and 2. I think it was like a top 4 finish and then a 5th place. Nice for Austrian Force because ultimately you want to sit as close to the top and get as many points as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And with teams like Austrian Force,
Все, Руслан, на карантине, ну... Не знаю, разболеюсь я или нет. Не хотелось бы, конечно. Мы можем с вами посидеть вот так.
Just to highlight what you said, I mean, a BBL esports right hasn't really been finishing in the top 4, top 5, top 6, but they are cracking up the kills, which has put them in that top 4 position. So, kind of one of those situations where, I mean, Avenger said it right at the start. We need to start looking at being relatively kill heavy. You need to get in those big kills if you want to finish in the top 4. That's how.
Как там Мария? Ну, отвезли ее в больницу, сдала какие-то анализы, пока не отвечает. Сдала кровь. Наверное, размещается. But I'm really curious to see how these teams are going to continue to kind of take advantage of this being, you know, as not as a stacked lobby as we usually see in our grand final. So, you know, our bottom 4, bottom 5 teams, once we're done with this, they're not going to be as quick on the macro rotations. They're not going to be as quick to take these priority compounds. So that's really. Кого жирует? We're
moving into game number 3. Can Austrian Force continue with that consistency and keep their top spots on the standings? О, началась третья игра. Если я вам мешаю, я могу себя выключить, ребят. Я буду, конечно, комментировать, но может кому-то неприятно смотреть, как стример кушает.
Я сижу и не могу вспомнить никнейм пацана, вместо которого Иван играет. Я его знаю, внешность помню, а никнейм не могу вспомнить. Квизи. О. А чё он не играет? Кто там у Артикса 4? Не успел посмотреть. Рады за меня не от всей души, но, пацаны, спасибо.
It's only top 4 that goes through, and I know that the teams that don't go straight on through will have other chances, but then we're at a repeat, like rinse, repeat, and then rinse, repeat again for elimination stage. It's, I mean, if you have one good game followed by a couple of bad ones, you can't make anything.
Блин, карту не смотрел нифига. У меня, кстати, трансляция еще на Твиче идет, если что. Если кому-то интересно смотреть на Твиче. Я уже давно на Твиче не стримил пабг. У нас там 4 зрителя, вообще мощно. Сегодня день для моих зрителей прям мощный. Все старые пердуны детей в школу повели, наверное. А, он вообще был не в курсе, да, походу? Давайте пока вырублю себя. Нормально поем, как свинка, блин. А чё у меня снизу не умею? Все.
No, I will agree that you shouldn't let it get to your head a whole lot. I will say though that you only have 2 days to make top 4. I mean, you can't wait until there's 4 games left, having played well 3/4 of them already.
Вот пабгу эту стадию игры надо и менять. Она максимально неинтересная и затянутая.
But honestly, I mean, as much as I would agree with you, had it been a 30 game or like a 25 or just even 20 plus game stage of a qualifier, then sure, you can kind of use the first day to be sort of a feeler and then really get into it on day 2. But here, the prep you've done coming into the tournament can be...
Типа из-за этого PUBG очень мало смотрят. Турнирный, потому что показывают непонятно что. Ну вот чел лутается, вот мимо него едут ребята, но он не стреляет. Какие-то ротации. Я не знаю. And that's them done. Are they going to go back and confirm? Yes, they are. Yeah. That goes back to what we were talking about, Toby. Подемарка, блин, долежался в поле. If a team can limit their bad games so that a bad game is still 5 or 6 points for themselves at the end of 12 games. Хочу посмотреть зону. Зона, по-моему, на Приморске, да? Whereas if you win a game, but you score 0 for the next couple, it's negated. Exactly. Like that average points per game is so important.
Exactly. I mean, we just saw Marco getting taken down, and it's kind of a head scratch.
А сколько дней квалы идут?
You can get caught in the open, that just feels bad, man, happens.
Ну, гроб стадия точнее.
We're talking BBL.
И сколько команд дальше проходит?
I mean, they have had their, I mean, with BBL looting Gatka Chopstick split and Pachinki being looted by now Overpeakers for a long time. They know their timings. They know that Liquid, or sorry, Overpeakers, it's gonna take me a little while to get used to, that Overpeakers will.
Как команда Артикса называется? Exalt. EX.
Whether it be him not having a car or maybe not finding the loot to stick around a little while longer, they've seen these rotations from Liquid Overpeakers a billion times at this point.
Нам показывают топ-3 ДПС.
They weren't ready for that.
Yeah, I wonder if there was something unusual, if there was like one member of Overpeakers maybe in a different position to they normally would be, because I completely agree with you.
Вообще не знаю, кто такой Kill Steal, вообще не знаю.
Hundreds, if not thousands of games. They know the patterns.
А почему Квизи не играют тоже? Интересно.
So, very, very interesting to see.
Квизи откуда?
Nonetheless, that is a point on the board, and they do have to move forward from here. So we'll wait and see how our teams get into phase 1. It should be fairly regulation from this point onwards. And it's phase 1. Even I can't cast a curse out into phase, right?
Well, I mean, we're seeing win or die.
Он случайно не из Украины?
Kind of backfill 3 teams, and if just any one of those teams up to stop their motion forward, win or die will become a well, here you go. I don't have to talk anymore. They're right there. Fortunately, Ali.
А куда он поехал-то? Красавчик.
He is caught behind a car and he's taken down.
And that was really nice for a win or die.
Такое не прощают.
That PUBG players use all the time. If you're driving past and you see shots at you, the first piece of information your teammates want to know, assuming you're not dead, is one player or full squad. And if one player only keeps shooting at you, they are liable to turning around and absolutely 4v1ing, and that's exactly what happened there. Well done to win or die.
Так, ребятки, не забываем лукаться ставить на ютубчике. И напоминаю, что на Твиче еще трансляция идет. Сейчас я доем и включу вебочку.
And instead of rotating, you know, via Milta over farm and kind of in through there, just the southern main island transition,
right?
They're going all the way south over military. I really like this play. It's one of those where we haven't scouted forward, coming in as hard east as we were. We haven't had a chance to, and just like we're seeing here,
Арти сидят с плитом.
Big chance that we're going to be running into threats we had no way of predicting. That now that we go the military side,
Сеникем вроде это назывался он. И под кошкой сидят. Надеюсь, сейчас прог будет, нам покажут его.
Sure. They could be going from, you know, I mean, a potential threat into actual death.
I like this because of the plane path. I think that they've correctly ascertained that it's very unlikely that another team is going to be moving across that western bridge and camping them out because of how far north the plane was, and therefore that makes the Millie Island rotate safer, right? But you're right. The question is not whether they'll get across the bridge, it's what they do when they get across. That's the bit I'm worried about.
Exactly. Cobra, well, took a shot, saw if you could hit anything. And God can, well, if Pink Venom didn't know already, now they're well aware that there's a team sitting in the houses just north of them. Silas, in the meantime, full speed forward he goes, drifting his way through the forest as they get ready for the next circle. They've scouted forward. Pains there as well. Might as well clear some real estate south of the hillside before we have to go. They're going to leave, I believe, Saga up on the hillside to scout, see where the next circle is going. And with that, smart play all around. I mean, again, everyone's splitting up, everyone's taking control. Like to see a good, more controlled beginning to a game than the previous two.
Dead making a little bit of noise there to try and dissuade Austrian Force from moving up. You can see there's almost you can almost hear the discussion amongst Austrian Force right now going, do we think it's worth cresting over the top of this hill to see if there's more than one player? Then circle pops, and I feel like that's actually bought them a little bit of a reprieve. They're in vehicles. They went, no, let's rotate instead. We have a long way to go. This is shifting south. There's still a little bit of water involved as well. And this is tricky I don't know where it's going from here, actually.
You say a little bit of water. I mean, we're looking at beach, we're looking at fields, we're looking at quarry and swamp. There's so much of this that you can't utilize it here. Well, Ascent Club, they tried it once before, they're gonna try it again. Iro instantly taken down. Here comes Lyron trying to make a run for it. Is going to stay alive, but now no, not gonna have it. Chris finds one, Micah finds one. Foot Esports in trouble. Just one player left alive, and he's gonna go down too. Odin couldn't make it happen. And 4 easy ones for Ascent Club. They took their time, Foot Esports. They sat around for a while, and that allowed for Ascent to position themselves perfectly.
And Ascent Club.
Плохо тебе слышно комментатора?
The north end of that bridge when we were talking about footballers making their rotation. So they basically came across the bridge at the exact time Ascent finally got in position. That was there's no way for them to know, of course, but it was almost a little bit of anti-timing there, and Ascend just hit that at the perfect time.
Ой-ой-ой, хорошо. И что, не добьют? Походу не добьют, его спасут.
If they go for it in the field, I mean, no flushes come through just yet. They have smokes lined up, and now Verbitum
Пешком пошел?
going on foot for the rest. That's bad timing, because here the pull-up comes. They need to do serious damage in order to stay alive.
Ой-ой-ой, что они сделали?
There's at least something for Frenchie to stay alive through it, at least initially.
So they got the initial. I don't know if GDE's plan was to crash this compound originally. I'm wondering out loud if they got that initial knock and they wanted to push in on the fly. I don't think this is working out the way they wanted it to at all.
And it's a weird commitment too.
Норм слышно, только переводчик нужен. Чат, я доел уже.
And then 2 players coming in on the south. That is, if you're going to push in on this, just full speed send all of them into warehouse and try and take the fight to the person you know is there instead of
they can still win this fight.
Вард доел типа.
As well. Ilyakai and what I can only assume to be more Ascent players having heard the commotion here. They want to see what they can find in all of this.
Ой-ой-ой, сейчас Heaven сдохнет.
I mean, GDE Esports can still win this fight, don't get me wrong. They're fine as it stands. It was just an interesting set of decisions strung one after the other. Still 3 of them there. Oh my goodness. So close to spotting Heavens.
Хорошая хая. Хорошая!
If this nade gets him. Yes! Kill still. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, not a whole lot to do if you're having a snap. One second one on his feet.
Отлично.
Goes down as a third, lobs it forward.
Очень хорошо сыграно. Но вообще мув мне их не понравился, конечно. Артикс стакнулись, да, у них без потерь пока. Но они еще без убийств.
If he bounces one more nade off the door of the warehouse, he might actually get Frenchie as well, so they need to be careful. I love
Там еще Киликай сверху пасет.
Watching alongside his teammates so that if another nade comes through, it's not a free point. Kill Yakai. Oh, here's where the third party complicates everything.
Ай-яй-яй-яй-яй.
Does get the knock in the end, but close to not happening in the first place. We'll get the flush confirmed as well, I can only imagine. Yep, there you go. 5 kills now for Ascent Club. Circle back towards the east we go. Fields galore. We do have Forest on the north side. BBL sitting dead center. Issue with these fields right now is...
Ну, арти пока сидят нормальные, они потом на кошку будут играть. Дадут ли им потом выйти? Вот вопрос. Но молодость у них на горе стоит. Ой, в голову их скрицу заехали. Не доконтролили. Сейчас его заберут на тачке.
You got to go into the hay bale, Toby. That's the way to avoid it. You get into the hay bale, and then what happens is overpeakers drive through the field and just run you over while you're in it.
Вот, чат, вы согласны со мной, что эта стадия игры, она неинтересная? Охренеть, его нокнули прямо в хате, конечно. Ой-ой-ой-ой-ой-ой. Ой-ой-ой-ой-ой-ой. Законфирмить химерах ее надо.
DF making the initial play was good enough. Voxy, though, will find the flush on Miracuza 2 down. Michael, Tixu, single players left alive here, and not exactly.
О, сейчас еще поги там покушают. Им начали назить в спину пинки. Ну куда ты побежал, друг? Ой, жесть, как сыграли Фела. Жесть.
a messy way to end the game for the fellas, I'm gonna say. I feel like nothing in the last 75 seconds for the fellas went according to plan and everything was on the fly.
With the circle going this far east, actually away from the shack, they were
Молодость один на кошке играет, но очень опасно бегает там поверху.
Right? I'm
But then
not
again,
sure.
hindsight knowledge is great knowledge to have. Probably didn't see the lack of threats, I should say, around that position that we did. Unfortunate for them. So they will go
А
down.
чем заменить эту стадию? Тогда уже не пабг будет. Ускорять зоны, увеличивать лут, наверное, еще. Я не знаю, потому что удержания зрителя нету вообще. Спектатор, блин, ну вот то, как сейчас это преподносится зрителю, оно неинтересно в целом. Следить за таким количеством команд, при этом общая картина такая смазанная получается, я не знаю. Ну все, сейчас должны эксы закрывать пинков. Все должны туда выходить. И потом на кошке играть с машинами. Потому что в поле сейчас это смерть. Вот эти мужики приехали в одну будку в свою смерть. Если пацанам дадут подойти поближе, там будет очень сложно.
This is interesting indeed. Here we go. We've got NotWav with an excellent angle, but Ascend Club choosing to not engage and only take out half the team. I love that they're picking and choosing these angles, not allowing NotWav to pick someone off on the side. And suddenly Ascend Club are inside the hotel building.
Ему надо, наверное,
outside looking in.
заходить. Я не знаю, Майка понимает? Мука понимает, что тут чел или нет? Да, понимает. Слышали, видимо, что спрыгнул. Ну, тут без шансов для них.
And Pink Venom losing someone on rotation there. It's KT actually, and maybe a good reason for why they didn't rotate sooner. Very tricky for them to get into circle from this position.
Ай, хорошо, но уже нехорошо. Вот они очень плохо эксы начали воспринимать на самом деле.
Trying to peek on over. They got 2 down already. Gary and a vehicle try to come out and help out. Issue is circles already closing in. We're late enough in the game that
Я думал, они все выйдут на кошку и будут нормально принимать. Ай-яй-яй-яй, Фейта еще нокают просто. Они...
Yeah, 1 HP essentially. It needs to find some time to heal up. Satisfactory. Fair is for Team Exalt now. Finding Zubilla as well. This fight is far from over. Hakatori's got a great angle.
Все. Фейри сейчас в ноке будет. Ой-ой-ой, там еще... Там Нави подназили еще. Но эксы все равно. Эх. Опять они подыхают, и у них 1 поинт за катку, да?
Yeah, they know that with 2 players down, the overpeakers are likely to get into better and better positions with time. So they have to consolidate. They either have to leave or they have to get to their down teammates and fight as a single unit and try and hold that way. So as long as they make one of those 2 decisions, that's cool. They're opting for the revive route. And as you can see, overpeakers, they hear the lull. Beautiful stuff. They went. There are no bullets flying away right now.
Не уехали, пацаны.
Rush up, and that gets them another knock.
Taking the weight off the shoulders, so to speak, of Soccer as he's trying to make his way back to safety with pains on his back. Soccer, the willful at the hands of James, finds a flush there as well. Silas now single player left alive, trying to stay alive, but nice off.
Развалились, пацаны. Ну, ликвиды хорошо сыграли.
pull off every now and again. Sometimes they don't pay off, but in times like
Эйсы тут, в принципе, хорошо себя чувствовать тоже будут на краю. Вообще комфортно. Пока Нави не заедут на них. Им надо контролить этот момент. Нок получил Аля. Что будут делать пинки? Ой, бля. Ой, бля.
He's forfeiting. He's not winning this game. That's what that looks like.
God, oh man, that is like get the F's out in chat for that. That I
Да.
feel the hurt from that. Oh man, that's rough. That is rough.
Happens. Unfortunately.
Столько лет играют в игру, чё карту не знают, ё-моё.
But now they come out and look towards overpeakers, and the issue now becomes with Ascent being present in the east. I don't think overpeakers is aware that they pulled up because they were
Нави сейчас рассыпятся. Как их пропускать? По ним стреляют все, но урон получил только Example. Они еще и заехали в кайфовую яму. Все вместе в центр зоны. Лол. Я в шоке просто, как их пропустили, никого не выбили.
By Entropic on the north side.
This is exactly what Ascent wanted off of this as well. Push up, and once they see the fight escalate on the north side, I think they wanted to initially take the fight while Austrian force was still a factor. They get taken out, but they know there's going to be more teams to the north, so pressure overpeakers further up to then just backstab, clear, and now they have full control of the east side. Very smart timing on their field rotation. They did it exactly when another team was trying to make that same rotation, so they knew that the teams who were in and around the shacks that could potentially prove to be landmines on their rotation were busy elsewhere. So a heads-up play on their side, and here we see Nail up around the side, spots clip, easy peasy for Entropic, who's had a pretty quiet start to the day so far, so good to see them get things.
Нави просто в центре в ямке.
But obviously this is just out of 2 games, and they're very capable of getting 15 plus kill chicken dinners. So patient.
What?
I thought that connected like 3/4 of a second.
Что это за комментатор, блин? Машу, походу, домой отпустили, слушайте чат. Сейчас, походу, домой вернется.
I love the sound the M24 makes as well. It's delicious. But yeah, sad that we didn't see some of those shots connect. But that was a great position he's in, to be fair.
Ну вот, пацаны, сейчас в своей могилке тут и сдохнут. Ой!
Alive, trying to make their way or not. They will be alive for now, but here comes the remaining Ascent players. 1 down, 2 down. Extends single player left alive. The smoke is only going to be there for so much longer. You would have to imagine that he falls too easy. Look at Navi. They're making pressure over the hilltop. There's nothing Ascent can really do. Try and force.
Ребята в поле огребли. Ну все, сейчас точно догорят. ГГ. Нави еще под этот шум вышли. Разваливают эйсов. Есть молик, есть молик. В ноке Аля. Алю доели, да? Нет, не доели. В ноке еще. Все, закрыли ИСов. Эта игра просто Нави должна быть. Нави еще подымутся сейчас. А, Экстенс все-таки выжил? Example в ноке. Это не страшно. А, энтропики идут на лицо Нави прямо сейчас. Это уже плохо. Ай, Мелман в ноке. Иван там лежит за машиной, но он уже все, дай. Можно считать его, дай. Поинт. Поинт не добрал! Этот чувак, он просто весь в ожогах, наверное, уже. А, в итоге он еще топ-2 забирает. Обалдеть. Обалдеть. Сколько раз он там 3 раза его поджигали, по-моему. 3 раза он горел. Я даже не знаю, сколько игр сегодня. Думаю, что игр 5 должно быть. Точно? У нас было такое, что было и по 4 игры, и по 5, и по 6.
One of the reasons that I find it the most impressive is that a year ago, this Entropic team would have pushed much earlier, would probably have died because of it. They have become so good at playing. I don't want to say more passive, but waiting until the perfect time to strike. A lot of teams strike just before the perfect time, dying in doing so. But the timing of Entropic, time after time after time, this game, I think they had 4 separate third-party opportunities, all of them timed perfectly.
Exactly right. They didn't just run in when they heard the bullets flying, right? They were very mature with it. So that is it for game number 3. Extents may be showing us a great example of maximizing points when things go wrong.
Ждем следующую игру, мужчина. Надеюсь, у Артикса хоть одну игру получится нормально сыграть.
Thanks, Toby. Thanks, Jarosar. I mean, I was waiting for this. Good morning, Entropic. They've woken up now. This is a problem for, I think, for almost every other team in the lobby now, because when this team starts firing, it's a scary situation, Avenger.
Yeah, it is. You know, a team that is already guaranteed to go to PGC because of the amount of PGC points they have already. They can do pretty much what they want, right? And the correct strategic move is to get as many good games with good practice in before PGC, and that is to be in the grand finals here for PCS 7. So they're obviously focusing on that. And you can tell, you know, these guys had a little bit of a summer break. It's good to take some time off, but they are so talented, and I really love what they've been able to achieve so far this year. Already before PCS 7, guaranteed.
Так, надо посмотреть, сколько игр будет. А потом, походу, наша помощь нужна будет.
And now they're going to be sitting at the top, looking at that top 4 and trying to get into the grand finals throughout this first chance to get in there.
The thing is, Kylaris, Entropic themselves had actually been getting some double-digit kills in the other games as well, so they were quite high on the leaderboard. This is just going to push them even further. And this is a team that works on momentum, so once they start going, it's just going to get bigger and bigger. How do you
Так,
shut
сегодня
down
у
Entropic?
нас...
If you tell me to kill them right at the start of the game, like Avenger would, I'd be upset.
3 матча, что ли, только? А, нет, подожди. Сегодня еще 3 матча. То есть сегодня 6 игр. Мы посмотрели с вами 3 матча, да?
Whilst the other 3 were putting the pressure on against overpeakers of all teams and making it look relatively simple, because nail-ups and absolute...
Сейчас я отойду, Маше позвоню в чатик.
Coming his way. And I mean, of course, we've had moments where in the previous tournament that they were playing, the big high-profile tournament, Ibis was looking phenomenal, but Nail-up before that was looking like an absolute beast, and he's back once again, and stopping him is difficult in itself.
This is, I mean, we're taking a look at Micah now, so I kind of want to bring it up. This is a team that, I mean, Kailash, you mentioned them at the start of the show, but I'm really enjoying watching them. Ascend is a really fun team to watch. I mean, that Molly on Win or Die earlier, it's Win or Die or Burn now, but just in general, their gameplay, very, very smart, very clever. I like the way they move around, and I think that as they warm up, this is going to be possibly a team to keep an eye on.
Oh, absolutely. This is a team that, I mean, it's a little bit deceiving actually as Ascend and kind of their entrance to this tournament as a whole, because yes, we haven't seen Ascend too much in the high profile tournaments, but this, as we mentioned at the start of the day, is a team full of veterans. This is a team that, in terms of their individual components or duos, in terms of Brexco and its Chris, didn't quite find huge amounts of success here and there, maybe, you know, a little bit on Shift W, etc., and things like that, but together, I think that this can gel really, really well if they stick with it. I mean, it's Chris and Brexco brought on Kilia Kai quite a while back and really kind of brought him into the fold. Micro, of course, we saw him at PNC. They didn't quite have the success that they wanted there, but we all kind of expected that from the German team, unfortunately, at that point. So I'm hoping for big things for them if they're able to continue it on with it.
But the star of the show, as much as we can talk about it, saying the star of the show, or this game,
He
Avenger,
can't fit
Native.
into the box. His arms are too big. His profile picture has to be zoomed out even more. He's so big. Like, this man is working out, and he's also working the games. 8 kills here, guys. It's insane. It's really nice. 2 kills off double digits. But then again, they had 12 total. Like, he's just taking everything away from the other guys, and all the focus comes to nail up here. It's really nice to see. And I'm really happy that they're able to, you know, they could have just leaned back and say, we don't really care about PCS 7, but I'm happy to see them already here in game 3, step it up and say, we're here to play.
As you said, though, it's the best practice, right? These kinds of lobbies, they're great practice. And then obviously qualifying on into the next stages when you know that the lobby's going to be even more powerful. It's the best opportunity to get the proper games in for PGC down the line that they are qualified for. And yeah, I think that they're going to continue to shine here.
This is quite stressful, though. I mean, there's only 4 spots available in this group. I mean, top 4, because, you know, normally you've got half the lobby to go through. So how much thought is going into your game plan if you're a Navi and an Entropic Avenger when you're coming into this lobby?
Well, Navi needs to make it to guarantee themselves the spot. They are like close to the safe break, but they need to get in there and to be able to get those PGC points. Otherwise, it's going to be on the edge. There's a chance that some teams, if it's a team that's not currently in the top 8, win it, or some that's kind of close on the outside, they could be pushing them down. But they are really, really close to being safe. They just need, you know, top 10 in the final, top 12 in the final, and they're going to be completely for anyone else to catch him. But again, as we said before, these top
Все, Марию Викторовну отпустили домой.
practice you can get before potentially going into PGC, where are you going to be playing against the best teams in the world?
We're halfway through the show, so because of that, there's some fun stuff that we've put together that you get to enjoy. So take a look at some of the that we've got for you as we hit the halfway mark. Watch this.
Так, сейчас следующая игра. Ну ладно, на самом деле перерывы между играми не очень большие. И это радует, кстати. Что там, 5 минут? Только сказал небольшие перерывы, и на тебе 5 минут. Ладно, сидим, ждем следующую игру, чатик. Это, конечно же, Эйдзи. А, тут уже посложнее. Это, наверное, Джимс. Хотя еще и на Тибона похоже. Тибон, наверное, да? Блин, хрен порассышь. Ну, это Густав. Блин, я уже в конце так и думал.
This is the Nations Cup, where the best are recruited to represent their home countries. Everything is on the line. Which also includes a $500,000 prize pool. We're going to be showcasing FaZe Clan and their journey to this global tournament.
What's up, guys? We're here for a short player interview, and I'm joined by no one else than Clip from Overpeakers. How's it going, Clip?
It's going good, thank you. How about you?
Nice, perfect, sweet. I want to talk a bit about last game. You guys made an early rotation. You caught one of the BBL players on your first rotation. BBL loots around Gatka. The circle was around Gatka. Does that influence your decision making at all, knowing that you put BBL down to 3?
I mean, obviously, we knew what split they have, so if next circle goes away and we need to do something, we know like what we can abuse per se on the 3, so that makes a big change.
Nice, cool. The game before that, game 2, we saw you popping off with the bolt. Is that something you run if you find nothing else, or do you think it's worth picking up?
I think it's worth picking up depending on the game. At game exactly, we didn't really find DMR since we left really early, so Vard had a bolt and I had a SLR, so we just swapped and I just played it. But I think it's pretty good.
Worked out pretty well, I think. Nice,
It did, yeah.
Cool. One last question before I let you go play the next game. I think I'm speaking for everyone saying that it feels weird seeing you as Overpeakers now after such a long time. Do you think we're going to see Overpeakers at PGC, or are you guys looking for an org to represent?
We're obviously looking for an org to represent. It's the best we can get, so I hope we don't play PDC under Overpeakers, but let's see what happens.
Have to wait and see. Cool. Thank you so much for your time, Clip. Good luck in the next game.
Thank you.
О, вот это прикольно. Молик туда закинуть. 3 щита. Ну, кстати, щит прикольная штука. Только он бесконечный или его раздолбать можно? Вот это, кстати, я не знаю.
I do like how I hyped up that segment a lot because I was excited about the baby pictures. We got 2 out of 3 on the desk. I reneged from choosing on 2 of them, so well done. Next time it comes up, Avenger, are you hoping to get 3 out of 3? I know your competitive personality.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I got a little bit debated by the T-Bone one. I think we all did. We were not sure it was him, but T-Bone was cute as a kid, you know, for sure. Very, I mean, he's obviously a very handsome guy, but super blonde, brown eyes, like it. Yeah, it's really cute guy.
Well, he's British, right? So of course he's cute.
That's not the reason, James. Have you seen yourself in the mirror recently?
What are you talking about?
Okay,
I need to see a baby picture. We need to see a baby picture of you, maybe. You know,
No,
we
you
can do a
don't,
talent one.
I know, actually, I was a cute kid. Screw you.
Блин, мне надо будет еще аптеку найти круглосуточную.
Before this completely derails, let's take a look at the standings.
После стримчика съездить.
3 games, and while we're looking at that, this is going to be interesting for Overpeakers. You heard Clip talking there, keeping his cards quite close to his chest as well, but no doubt, Kylaris, they're going to be looking for an organization to rep them. This is probably going to be the motivation they need as well.
Absolutely, 30 points on the board for them right now. I think, quite honestly, I think
На 15-й строчке у нас Artix.
I'm going to go there. I'm going to lay it out honestly. I think maybe I don't know what was working for them, but this might be the kick in the rear that they need to be able to, move on into PGC and try and accomplish what on Team Liquid they always wanted to.
Еще получается 3 игры, а всего у них сколько игр?
For the last year, it felt like a bit of meandering, but this is an excellent roster that can push further and on another
Всего будет у них, получается, 12 игр, да?
Also, no surprise, Avenger and Tropic sitting in that top spot with 35 points. They're going to be feeling really good. And I do think those double-digit kills that they keep getting in game after game is what's getting them in there. And if they continue like this, they might just run away with that top spot, which isn't nice for the other teams because they've already guaranteed themselves a spot at PGC.
Yeah, they want to be in there because of the practice they can get, as we've been talking about, but it's kind of scary for the other teams because you're kind of expecting a team like Entropic, maybe a team like
Да, спирта, конечно, экстаз, блин. У тебя все спиртом лечится, ё-моё.
Maybe up for the grabbing there in the top 4.
We are only halfway through, and of course there is 2 days of play as well, so they've got a day and a half to continue. There is a team that I want to speak about just because I think this is a really strong lineup. They've had some fun moments, but maybe not necessarily finishing where they want to, and that's the Fellas. I quite enjoy this lineup. What do you think of them, Kylaris?
Oh, well, do you want me to get my PNC championship shirt out? Because I also appreciate this roster. I want to see Michael, Miraku, and the Finns do well. And I think that they've got the chops to be able to do it moving forwards. I think maybe that second Erangel game, I think a little bit unfortunate about their push on GDE. GDE was coming out hot. And I think maybe they could have played it differently, as Avenger said. But yes, high hopes for them. And Michael, listening to him in interviews, he was having a kind of a hard time and a lot of soul searching going on in terms of when he was moving from rosters and stuff like that. And I think maybe
давайте уже игру начинайте.
Fun fact, when I first got into PUBG esports a couple of years ago, I think Michael was one of the first players I actually spoke to randomly at the event, and he was very sweet.
Was he on TSM at the time?
Yep, and then he was quite cocky after that, so never mind that story. But Michael, in the beginning, you were a lovely lad. Okay, Avenger, we're moving on to Miramar now. Expecting any changes?
Все, начинается, и начинается. Мирамарчик сейчас будет. Здорово, Артмен.
Oh my. He's giving you nothing. He is giving you no.
3 Эрангеля, и все 3 Эрангеля команда Артикса отыграла очень плохо. Сейчас посмотрим, что они лутают на Мирамаре. Самолет хороший, прям разлетятся все как надо.
3 o'clock to 9 o'clock plane path here, almost exactly bisecting the map. Just a smidge.
Что они хоть лутают, надо глянуть. Еще никто из их команды не прыгнул. Вот, прыгнули они. В Монте летят, походу, что ли.
I'm looking at this server, and I don't think there's anything that can stop them. That is, I mean, of course, you have Navi on their strong days. They are...
Не вижу, где Артикс летит. Вижу, где Артикс летит. Да, походу это Монте, хотя Артикс вроде дальше летит на ангары, что ли. Может, на машину сразу.
I have an answer for you. It depends on how you define strongest. If you said...
Ну да, он на ангарчике падает. Видимо, там тачка. Или он до бетонок летит аж? Нет, упал на ангары. Ой, зона какая. В Эльпоза летят 2 команды.
True. To some extent, I agree with you. I feel like, yes, the bottom line for Entropic, even on their bad days, is still what some other teams would call mediocre. But having said that, let's hold it for a second. In the meantime, now, on Grind and Fellas, opting to hot drop into a post.
Ой-ой-ой! Ой-ой-ой, его сейчас задавит же нахрен. Ага, все, не задавит. Ой, ну как он так вообще просто? Как он так летит? Я не могу.
opting to jump out. Hasn't looted anything yet, but I think got fed the info that there's no
Да.
items inside this building other than the crawling one he sees right below him.
So this was really
Ну, такие себе ребята, походу. Эти OG.
And then and stayed near the building while Uno was looting to give Ruston basically to pressure.
Какой ник у Артикса, такой же.
Where the vehicle was coming from, and that's how Ruston got the knock. So it's nice to see the fellas, even when they don't have guns in hand, working together for that outcome. Really, really good stuff. And ooh, dear.
Ага.
Frenchie returning a bit
Это
of a
сейчас
favor
или это в
onto
прошлой?
Michael.
Yep, Michael will bleed out as well. So once again, in a very quick fashion.
Типа разменялись один в один, что ли?
Hot dropping does not pay off because now both teams have taken casualties. Who would have thought? And even more
Там
so in
вебку
this
чувака
particular
показывают.
case, when we look at the first circle that popped while this was going on, these guys are headed to quite a
Там
little
какой-то
bit
мужчина
the
старый
opposite side of the map.
был.
So even though there are threats nearby,
Да, они разменялись
you're
один в один.
occupied, head further west, take those cars. You have the one vehicle like the hard spawn on your side as well. Get those cars, go north around. I mean, you were the last team alongside and alongside fellas to jump out of this plane.
Кто у нас в группе Б играет, надо будет посмотреть еще.
So, get those cars, wrap north.
В группе Б у нас будут НЛТ, Фейзы, Хероики, НСы, команда Шиш, Digital Athletics, Хавал, Question Mark, Байстендерсы и все остальные нонеймы для меня. Не знаю такие команды. Так, у нас получается две группы, группа А и группа Б. Я так понимаю, из каждой группы по топ-8 будут выходить в следующий раунд.
Anonym is the player I'm afraid of because Team Elite, they're going to be focusing on the guys right in front of them. Anonym's going to have a beautiful angle.
Yeah, Fragger trying to
Ой, фейл.
Unfortunately, unscopes for a second, and that allows for Dead to wrap around the other
Плохая
side. Now
хая.
Nate comes through. Info has been given across. The Cobra is in the garage. Spots him, but again, timing just off for Fragger. Holds the angle, but at the second he unscopes.
Ну их двоих они должны уничтожать. Аноним может ошибиться сейчас. Там еще скрим у них сверху едет. Но они слишком долго. Слишком долго, типа. Сейчас 4 в 4 в итоге драться будут. Это еще Бэтбой сейчас над ними заедет сверху.
And it's so stupid, right? I mean, nothing against the players because they're forcing this fight because they have to. But if we look at the map, there's
Ну, чувак поторопился, мне кажется, ему надо было ждать фраг на верочку. Они текать пытаются, а эти их отпускают, да? Там у чувака даже ДБС был, почему они не поехали? Их пушить, ну вот выбили одного хотя бы.
Unfortunately, here they get away. Unfortunately, though, not with Cobra. So they get out of there. Losing a player is unfortunate, but again, they realize this. We're dead center. There's no one around.
Арти написал, ага. Я говорю, играй нормально. Я смотрю, он говорит, ага.
Team Elite's idea of leaving. Unfortunate, though, that they use Cobra in doing so.
Не знаю, там какой дилей, что, сдох уже, что ли?
If you're fighting for a compound and there's no one within 3 kilometers of you, it's the only time in these games where you can actually have a full-on fight and not worry about a third party.
True.
That's rare these days. But you don't want to do that in phase 1. If this was phase 5, fine. But yeah, this is tricky.
Know that Impala has been looted by Entropic. Of all the teams, you want to have third party early on. I mean, they're already, you can see in the cast, they were already headed in this direction. So that's scary. Now, Risk did here again disengage. Unfortunately, look at
Ой-ой-ой-ой!
But can't get more.
Really good initial spray. Has the opportunity to still connect. Teammates also shooting in that direction, but it looks like they will just be able to get away. That was a close call for Project Underdog.
Сколько у них дилей там, мне интересно.
Parking brakes, man.
As small as you possibly can. Fortunately, there's a tree there to stop the car. So
yeah, you're not getting that though, are you?
Yeah, no. At least it's not all. At least they didn't give it to Entropic.
Sure.
You know? So there's that.
Что-то... А, подожди. Почему выделено топ-4 непосредственно?
Opts to try and disengage here as well. If he sticks around, nah, he heard it. He doesn't like what he heard either, so he's gonna run up the hillside. Will he get away safely? Yes, he will. Soccer actually gonna be the one to be shot at here, but Austrian Force lives with the scare.
I'm worried here for Austrian Force because I don't know where they've all parked their cars.
Самая интересная стадия игры, блин. Зоцер просто на халяву отдается. И Пейн должен уходить отсюда.
It's once again, I mean, we saw it in the very first game, which
Но он уйдет.
in the end ended up winning, so I'm not going to take that away from them. But initially, a split, I looked at and thought, that, my friend, is going to be punished. It wasn't in the first game. I wasn't the only one kind of head-scratching when seeing it, though, because we heard on the desk, Kalari said as well that it's gonna get punished later, which it was, and now...
Хочется посмотреть на ротацию Арти. Да что вы? Что вы? Как вы? Жесть, как ездят, чуваки.
It's just dangerous split, having two PS down the valley the way that they did there. When a team pulls up, like they did here,
Вон снизу Арти едут. И походу сейчас Арти сдохнет от команды Эйс. Мне так кажется. Хотя они очень далеко друг от друга, и эти ребята едут совсем по другой дороге. Может быть, задержка большая, и на самом деле они выиграют.
It's not exactly the same as a fight between third and fourth place, for instance. It's certainly the kind of thing you want to hold off as long as possible so that you're having that fight when ideally everyone's already in the placement points. So it's unfortunate that it happened there. We don't have any teams out at least, but yeah, they're taking damage from each other for reasons that maybe could have been avoided, shall we say.
What is stronger?
Что-то пики непонятно что делают. Походу они на шару куда-то едут. Совсем в разные стороны что-то разъехались, как муравьи. В итоге один мужчина у них отстал, и это большая ошибка прям.
Drop like in and around Snake on Erangel, like that middle strip was just completely yellow, and it was four different teams. I feel like this.
И сейчас вот этого Хакатори или Накатори, как он там его, сейчас его примут. Смотрите. И МУГГ. Да? Типа так нельзя. Этот хаешка испалился, Вард. Никого в итоге не дамажил, не нокнул. Ребята сверху ему помогают. Смэш в ноке. Ну, BBL приехали. Мне кажется, что BBL приехали. Их еще ребята сзади начинают душить. Кодемарка побежал к уёбте. Зачем? Сейчас Кодемарка умирает. Умирает? Жесть. Нави закусили с GDE, с GDE, GDE.
That is delightful stuff. Unfortunate for BBL there. Like, the start of that engagement had all of the hallmarks of a beautiful BBL smash and grab, right? Yeah. It looked like they were going to pull up, they were going to get two knocks super quick, it was going to look great, and then about 7 seconds later, it started going downhill, and that was the final shot. What a rough engagement for BBL.
Sort of. I think I casted my first sort-off kill.
Где Арти? Они где-то по низу должны быть. А, вон они справа уже. Справа на гору играть будут, слушайте, но у них, в принципе, все в порядке пока. Если не будет хардшифт лево, то у них все более или менее.
the sawn off there, showing its use, showing it has a place. You can see the teams here are broadly towards the coast as opposed to inland in phase 2, by the way. So there's a reason for that. Inland, there are a lot of flat hilltops, and it's a little bit difficult to rotate north or south compared to a lot more of the roads and a lot more of these dips and valleys that you have towards the coast. So even though the circle is going to move away from the water at some point, it still pays to be close but not too close so that your rotations out of there can be a bit easier.
10 players eliminated. I know it was a tough Eastern Circle off of a lot of teams being hard west, so rotation kills would
Да,
happen.
13 минут смотрим, блин,
Did I
10
expect to see
игроков
10
только.
players eliminated come 13 minutes, though? Not quite the case. We've had Miramar games where the first player gets knocked at around 10-11 minutes, if not even later than that. So the fact that we get this many kills this early on goes to show that this is a lobby that hasn't quite settled. Also, a lobby that is currently playing its first Miramar game. Still, rotation paths have to be figured out. You can do so much prep on what you think teams are going to do, but when push comes to shove, it's what happens in the game.
Вот, слушайте, плюс-минус они себя должны хорошо чувствовать. Если они к молодости туда вверх сыграют, наверное. Хотя можно ждать, можно не спешить пока. Вот, судя по тому, какую позиционку держат команды на карте, у нас очень мало файтов будет в этой зоне. Вот надо куда-то и сам заезжать, и там OG с командой ПВ закуситься могут, а все остальное выглядит, как будто так и будут сидеть все ребята. Эйсы тут все видят отсюда. It's getting to a point where they have to fight, because if you disengage and go to the next place, they'll almost certainly be a team. Так. чепухарти там прессуют. Машину ему сбивают, но вроде все норм. Нави вчетвером в кафешке сидят, нормас у них все. Очень часто, кстати, эта зона, мне кажется, плюс-минус в этих местах заканчивается, поэтому они вообще с кайфом сидят.
We're reaching that stage of the game now where the easy compound that no one's taken yet that you can get to while rotating early, not really an option anymore. Those compounds do exist, but it's so hard to scout.
Ну вот, скучная зона, видите, да? Ничего на карте не происходит, все сидят в домах. Они решили поехать на позицию, где был Артикс. И Артиксу надо отсюда валить. А, ну они поехали в кемп? Что? Они поехали в рельеф, походу. Они прочекали. Там плюс-минус на будке можно играть. Дальше можно играть. Тут рельеф-то хороший, в принципе-то. Но... Там люди пушатся очень легко в целом. Тем временем прошло 16 минут игры. 5 минут уже практически ничего не происходит. Команда BBL только сдохла в полном составе. Все остальные сидят по кемпам. Для всех место есть. Вот в этой зоне, ну вот. Сейчас начинаются сложности у многих команд, в том числе и у команды Артикса. Молодость знает про то, что перед ними есть команда, то, что они уезжают. Сейчас они заберут инфу. И в принципе, лучший вариант, наверное, для эксов сейчас крутить вверх. На тот ангар. Они знают сейчас, что там люди есть, они их слышат. Но им надо их пушить. Потому что других позиций на карте сейчас нормальных нету. Они должны это, ну, понимать, и инфа у них должна быть хотя бы минимальная с этой позиции.
essentially the spot that Ascent had
Все эти
been
рельефы ребята
taking
занимают. Это
on over. They know they're there now, though, and there's just 1 or 2 balls really up for grabs.
такие полурублевые позиции, которые простреливаются.
Stretch for Nate range, but 1 or 2 smokes. We saw James try and pull actually success in pulling it off on Erankle earlier today. 1 or 2 smokes to give you a good line.
Ну, по-хорошему, иксы должны верхний ангар пушить. У них там есть, в принципе, все для того, чтобы это сделать, потому что, ну, сверху там довольно-таки легко это делается. Особенно после нока какого-нибудь. Я не знаю, ждет ли эта команда над собой еще кого-то, помимо того, что пинки оттуда уехали. Снизу у нас лютые замесы получаются. Энтропики подъезжают вверх на погов. Поги вышли из кемпа, хотели, я так понимаю, драться с исами, что ли?
This could play perfectly in favor for Ascent. They push over the top. I mean, I'm not sure why.
Эти тоже в рельеф заехали. Тоже в полурублевый рельеф заехали.
Taking a fight head to head here. We have Miracle still on the other side of the road. He can't really play much of a factor, you can see, with where he is right now. So opting to go in a vehicle, wrap around the west side, get back down to his teammates. Remember, Michael was taken down early. So fellas, only 3 alive.
Нок. Отлично. 2 нока дали. Ликвиды хорошо отыгрывают. Нормально там клип вкрутил. Взял угол. Эксы фулл состав. 0 фрагов пока. Пока я не видел, чтобы они нокались. Ой, Миракью на соплях выжил только что. Но не ушел. Все, ликвиды с кайфом с этой части карты одни играют пока. Вот над иксами вины вышли. И чё? Сейчас жарко там будет. Артикс в ноке. Артикса съели. Потому что позицию заняли дерьма. Вот вся карта сдохла. Ой, вся команда их сдохла. Топ-13. Ой, бля. Нельзя такие позиции занимать. Да, они все там одновременно почти сдохли.
Once again, I mean, he is the savior right now, trying to get Iroh back to safety, get him back on up. The issue now becomes that win or die just took out Exalt.
Я не удивлюсь, если сейчас эта команда, которая их выбила, займет и настреляет неплохо. Хотя над ними там тоже есть ребята, которых бы надо тушить, потому что дальше играть очень сложно будет.
And kind of pepper them every time they try to peek over towards one another. They're in trouble. Look at this. Lookarox tried to reposition to take the fight elsewhere. There comes the third party in from behind. That is the stab. That is the thorn in the heel that wasn't present before.
Ну, Айвас тут недолго поживет. Его никто не смотрит, кстати. Вообще никто. Сейчас с Лукарукса он должен забрать медицину.
And now we have Ascend making a little bit of a do or die move into the middle of the circle there. It's Chris, the only player left.
Вот вины сейчас будут нормально играть. Как будто, знаете, как будто сейчас у Арти ребята драться боятся. Такое ощущение складывается. Типа они втискиваются в какие-то полурублевые позиции и терпят. А если бы закрыли этих мужиков в ангаре, вся бы часть карты была их, это. Ой, чего он ждал?
He's out in the blue. Unfortunate for him, though, not too far to the circle.
Ivas getting a headshot there in the picture-in-picture, but not enough to get a knock. It is now, though. Entropic eliminated, but Ivas absolutely maximizing his effectiveness from out in the blue.
Нави прям хорошую позицию заняли изначально. У них в этой карте, в этой катке у них фраги-то, по-моему, есть какие-то небольшие.
They simply took too long. The fight never happened. No one wanted to be the initiator early on. This time around, though, Frenchie is going to be exactly that. Finds the first one now. Damage done across.
Ему надо было сразу проходить, не стрелять.
Not gonna matter though. James from across the map.
Вот команда, которая закрыла Арти. Ну, дальше тяжело им будет, конечно, тоже. Играть некуда вообще. Что там, Гусяра что-то попрыгал туда-сюда.
And take a look at how flat this terrain is once you're on top of these hills or once you're at the bottom. That's why there are so few people left alive. What was this? 26 people left alive in phase 6 we had on Erangel twice? Well, we're down to 23 and it's still phase 6 here.
We're continuously shifting into, well, less and less playable terrain, essentially. This is really becoming...
Вины поднимаются, у них есть транспорт еще.
They're sitting in a saloon right now going, oh, we're the only compound in the circle? Yeah, we'll take that.
Exactly. Oh, God. Whoa. Disgusting name.
That is how we get 3 kills, friends.
To be fair, when we saw...
Нави должны сейчас закрыть весь край, наверное. И у них там есть куда играть выше.
It's also kind of ironic that it's Extens who gets the kills. It's like, guys, I know how you survive in shacks.
Ребята, поди-ка еще васку забирать. Не-не-не, нельзя. Вот туда, где тачка горит. Ага. О, сюда приехали вины. Надо смоки, смоки. Хорошая позиция в плюс-минус. Хотя, если есть КЕ у этих ребят из ПВ, то 2 нока у винов. Смоки раскрыли в целом. Голову Лоёшу дали. Если это ХЕ, ГГ.
Second nade comes through, and this is crucial for them. This is their real entry to the circle.
Beautiful flashbangs. Third one in a row, right in Leosh's face.
Так, ребят, я пошел Машу встречать. Маша домой вернулась.
Oh my God, that is absolutely beautiful stuff, and it pays off as well. They committed so much utility there. They basically had to win that fight, right, Toby? Like, how many flashbangs, how many smokes did you have to invest just to get to this position? That you have to keep pushing. You're committed at that point.
Exactly. Unfortunate now. Pains, the upfront player, goes down. Vasco knows that, well, now's the time to make a play. Tries to do it on foot, but that's going to be a tough one. Team Elite trying to make the exact same play across the valley. We go 1 down, 2 down. Out is Team Elite in 6th place. So just 5 teams left alive. Should be 4 in just a moment's time.
And that's a byproduct of so much flat space here. Vashku trying to escape, giving a point to anybody else. Example, though, managing to get that knock. And Austrian Force, unfortunately, will be giving that point away. Only Silas left alive. There's so much of this circle that's just flat or on a single incline that only one team can occupy. I'm surprised there are even 5 teams alive at this point.
Depending on how Navi plays this, Silas gets 2nd place guaranteed by just hiding up north. The way that this is going to go down, I mean, Overpeaker's going to backfill on this one. You see GDE or GDE Iceboy is going to be completely ambushed from behind now in just a second. 3, 2, 1. There you go. There he goes. Peeks over the top. They get the easy freebie. And now, because they've forced this fight against Pink Venom, they're going to get shot in the back. This should have kills from OP all over it.
I think Katie actually had some utility out and maybe wasn't expecting someone to literally pop up right in front of them to smack them with the full auto shot. Imagine if that was a Molotov or a frag grenade. Silas.
He's blind.
Oh my God. White screen. Send it back to the manufacturer. RMA that monitor because Silas' screen's going to be white for the next 24 hours with that.
This is picture perfect understanding of the situation from Na'Vi. They know what's going on up on the hillside, and they know they still have Silas to deal with. They need to deal with that threat. So they look at the control they have of the circle now. They have all of it. Other teams would have been hesitant. They would say, oh, but we got top 4 guaranteed. We're still 4 alive. Let's play it safe. No. Na'Vi, they take control while other teams are dealing with other stuff. And in doing so, I would say already now, getting themselves a win. Even though Overpeakers are 3 alive, the position from Na'Vi right now and how good we know they are in these sort of situations, they just don't fail. Now they probably will, but usually they do.
It's all right. I'll root for the other side. We can't both cast a curse, right? I guess we could. Like, GDE could then end up walking away with a lot. But anyway, at the moment, Overbeat is 1 up. GDE with 1 up.
Так, ну и что там у нас происходит? Нави вышли. Нави игру забирают, да? Ну и хорошо. Молодцы. 12 киллов сделали. Молодцы. Никого не потеряли. Ну, с зоной, так скажем, с позиционкой им зашло.
The best opportunity in having this saloon for quite a while, then pushing out along the ridge line. They knew when to push, executed it perfectly. But overpeakers, to me, sure they get a little fortunate with BBL stumbling into their compound, but the way they push up.
Ну что, ждем следующую игру. Я пошел пообщаюсь с женщиной.
But how you use that to win the game still matters. And I'm sure the desk will be able to shine a lot more light on exactly how that went down. Back over to you, folks.
Thanks, gents. So that was a nice, easy chicken dinner for Navi. They just phoned the delivery service. It was brought to their door steaming hot. Colors.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, they had Saloon for quite a long time. I really like how they eventually, towards the later stages of the game, flexing out, having Alia lead, then Example following up, to effectively deal with Austrian force and then create the barrier. Just say, okay, we know we have full control of this game. Let's push up against these teams and not give them any room in any of the next circles, basically, as they're caught in that kind of third-party situation. So, Na'Vi, the perfect team to be able to take a win like this. Very well done.
I mean, it's always dangerous eventually when you let Navi go and win a chicken dinner, because like you see there, 12 kills. This is a nice one for them. It's just going to stack the points, and they need it because they need to move their way into the top 4.
Yeah, and with this so far, it's actually looking kind of crazy, right? It's the teams, it's the top dogs that we expect to do well that are already pulling out these chicken dinners and doing really good with the kills as well, putting in double digits here in Tropic. Navi now 12 as well. Fantastic game for them. And actually the amount of control that you're able to take out from Saloon. Usually it's hard to get out of the Saloon if you have to go kind of north, but it went west for them, which was perfect. They could then play uphill after they defended the Saloon. You also have to remember it is a home turf circle for them, so we're expecting them to do really good and great things from situations where they don't have to move that far.
You know, coincidentally, Sam, as well, at the end of game 2, we were looking at it, I was like, yeah, there's not that big wins or anything like that. And then I said, Na'Vi and Entropic, middle of the pack, they're likely to get big wins eventually, and then we get an Entropic and Na'Vi win. This is super coincidental, and I don't know how that has occurred here, but they've both just got themselves 12 kill wins in the past 2 games. So they're going to be ramping up very nicely here and pressuring the rest of the lobby.
I think the rest of the lobby needs to be concerned, because if you let Entropic and Na'Vi continue like this, they're just going to, I can't remember the Danish word now, but sponge up all the points that are available. Swamp up all your points, and that's a problem. There are 2 teams that I've been really impressed with, and I'm interested because you can actually see some of their players popping up on kills and damage, specifically GDE and Austrian Force. They've had a really good run.
What is this VARD picture, though?
It's photoshopped. It's pretty clearly photoshopped. Yeah.
That was so good. Sorry, I just never mind.
Okay, we'll just take a look at example and clip. There we go. Avenger, you can chat up. I'm gonna start giggling. This always happens.
It's unfortunate. You know, that's happening when you have fun on the desk here, and you know, you guys. It was meant to happen that you guys were gonna make each other laugh, and I was just gonna have to sit here and point out that example, as James said, Alia was leading by example, and they did well. 4 kills here, 600 damage, perfect situation for Navi to step up. And I honestly, the way that they maintained control and made sure that everyone trying to come in from the east, they took them out, and then they could push into overpeakers and eventually GD.
Try and ask my question again. 2 teams that I did not expect.
Так, ну я надеюсь, сейчас у нас перерыв с вами небольшой будет.
2 teams that I think would be consistent on day number 1. I probably wouldn't have even mentioned these 2, and it is GDE and Austrian Force Colors. I think that both of these teams.
Вроде как, я так понимаю, большой перерыв после 3-й игры. А сейчас они уже должны начинать, я думаю. Может быть, Артикс уже сдох, кстати.
For me, GDE, absolutely not. They really weren't on my radar as much as maybe Austrian Force was. Obviously, with Austrian Force, they are, you know, as components, it's an extremely impressive roster that has the potential to be able to go further in this tournament. And yeah, I'm happy to see them kind of push ahead to a decent spot at least here for all of this. And of course, they've got Zoka, who is actually the most handsome man in all of esports. So that's very important too.
That's a statement.
There you go.
That's, you know, the whole time you were saying that, I was just thinking of that Photoshop picture, and I was like, do not giggle. Do not giggle. I cannot.
They've
cannot
done him
do my
dirty,
job.
all right? They've done him dirty.
Why? Why did you even have to point out? Okay, I need to pull myself towards myself, so we're gonna take a short break. We'll be back after this.
Так, еще походу не начинается нифига, через 3 минуты. Assassin's Creed какой-то тут. А, у них же коллаба, да? Это что, пистолет какой-то новый, что ли? Просто чумачечья коллаба, конечно. Кайф. Сколько всего нового привнесли. Просто аж захотелось поиграть. Да. С Маклареном еще коллаба, да? На какую карту они Макларен добавили? А, типа ждите, скоро будет Макларен. Ну, прикольно. Под такую музыку. Как будто no copying sound, блин. Да чё, температура у нее, чё? Все нормально. Если не считать температуру. Там в телеге все есть. Артмен, надо в телеге пользоваться. Жулик.
You're here watching PCS 7, and McLaren is also here at PUBG Battlegrounds. Don't forget to purchase your McLaren skin as a special skin when they release. Right, gents, getting into this now, Miramar. I made quite a bold statement.
Макларен скин. Блин, ну офигеть, я не знаю.
I think by the end of today, those points are going to be spammed up by specifically overpeakers and
Мне кажется, это не способствует тому, что люди хотят играть после того, как добавили одну тачку какую-то. Надо какие-то существенные обновления, наверное. Ну я... Хотя, блин, какие? Недавно карту новую добавили. Немножечко было интересно, потом снова. Может, действительно, просто уже людей немножечко замучил этот жанр, вот как Battle Royale. Как вы считаете? Как вы считаете, вам надоел Battle Royale, мужики?
To make it to the top 4, you're going to have 100 points plus. So we're going to have to get into the triple digits. 33, you know, a third of the way. It's going to be that. The question for me is Austrian Force going to be able to continue that? Because 8 more games with that consistency, considering 60 to 70% of the points should be coming from kills, and right now they have a lot of placement.
Нет, Super People уже топ.
to rack up more kills.
Ну,
than they
Super
have so
People,
far,
все,
because you can see on our
ушел.
top three, that
На доработку
ratio is
снова.
much more fitting to what we're expecting it and what it usually is.
Yeah, obviously Austrian Force has done pretty well in
Поэтому...
terms of placement points as a whole. But I
Ну, я не
feel
знаю, типа,
overall, even
насчет
Austrian Force has been impressive in terms of finding their spots and playing
таких
from them. I
эмоций,
like what
супер или не
Defense has
супер.
done so far, because you can see that,
Здорово,
I mean,
нет, не
killing a guy
надоел?
like, the two players. Big damage coming out from those guys already with the 27 limit kills that they've got here. If they're able to gain a few more
Блин,
placement
я не
points, I
знаю.
think they're going to be rocketing up here, and I'm excited to see if they're going to be able to put that up.
I just feel like the angel of like doom and gloom, but I honestly think that there's one spot in the top 4 available. I think that the other 3 spots are going to be claimed by those teams we're already seeing in the top 3.
Yeah.
I mean, Avenger, I just think now if they continue to perform, but they're 3 teams that know exactly what they need to do. I just worry that there's now literally one spot up for grabs for everyone
I mean,
else.
they are so strong right now. What we've seen throughout this year from Navi, they're extremely strong. In Tropic as well, they've already guaranteed themselves PGC, right? So we're thinking that they are gonna be swooping through this quite easily, and as you were pointing out, swamping up a lot of these points here. I will say this though, I'm really happy to see Liquid be able to step up, you know, ex-Liquid, be able to step up and become these new guys, over peakers. They're kind of transforming themselves into this new. And as you were pointing out, James, there is a bit of a spotlight on them now, right? Because they need.
Начал играть в PUBG 3 года назад благодаря тебе. Я помню, когда я с отцом просто 4 года назад смотрел стримы твои.
So they really want to show what they're made of, and that's what I'm really hoping that they're able to continue to do so. So I think you're completely right, Sam. The top 3 is pretty cemented. It's looking really strong for these teams, especially even if we just played 4 games. But you can really see that already. So one spot to play for, and a lot of teams that is really looking good to have a chance at it. And then I would love it to beat these guys. Austrian Falls also fantastic. 2 Nations Cup players, Silas and Vasco, 2 staples that has been really performing the last couple of years here, and have been on big rosters. I would really love to see those guys up there.
Через месяц вроде выйдет в ранний доступ. Super People, что ли?
This one's on you.
Thank you very much, Sam. Penultimate time over the skies of Miramar now for day number 1. The top 4 teams go through. Maybe starting to feel a little bit of pressure, some of these teams who possibly haven't gotten off the mark quite the way they wanted yet.
Нет, мне Тарков не надоел. У меня еще в Таркове столько стримеров, с которыми можно делать коллабы, но почему-то я этого не делаю. Надо кого-то, ну, с кого-то начинать, с кем-то играть. Пока вот что-то как-то туплю, так скажем, реально туплю. Надо с другими ребятами играть, начинать.
Curious to see here is a circle going somewhat south, because look at how many teams are now going out north. There's just only so many spots available to like get a proper loot game going on the southern side, that a lot of these teams forced to go north, maybe even forced to go north to take cast to.
Так, ну что, опять монты падают у нас Артикс. Самолет плюс-минус опять был нормальный.
I mean, while we have seen it in a couple of scrims here and there, it hasn't been competitive tournament tested to the extent that I would love to see. The mountain up there is different. Not gonna happen. We're going down towards the La Trilera mountains to southwest. But
Пикарап, ты мне предлагаешь чуваков, которые со мной сейчас пока им не интересно будет. Типа, надо кого-то другого. Поменьше. А, чё это я? Так, ну что, у нас хотя бы какой-то контест в начале, это OG с этими филой.
Yeah. I don't even think it's possible for us to speed run a game of Guess Who in the time that we see that.
If I say,
we should try
is
that.
Your
if I say,
and you say yes, I will have won.
Yes, that's true. And there's only one person with, I think, a big, thick, pointy beard as well.
True.
Great beard.
True. So there are the small ones that you can bring home a quick win on.
Скины к ПКС пабг сделал. Братан, я месяц в игру не заходил, не знаю.
I don't want to say curious. I'm honestly, between the two of us, given what these teams
не могу сказать.
12 games, top 4 goes through, I'm a little disappointed to see teams back to back hot drop the same city. And now I know this was a Western plane and it's difficult to play around.
Sure.
But you've just fought in El Pozo, fellas, and on grind is with the teams that I'm talking about. You've just fought there, both taking casualties and doing so, and now they both go back to play there again. In a 20-game grand final situation, fair enough. Have your skirmishes, you know, I mean, duke them out and then get it over with in a couple of games. But by the end of the next game, you have only got half your Miramar game. I mean, you only got half your total games left.
Как это месяц недавно оставил, стримил же? Ну, это не считается.
Be on the very top echelon and a potential to qualify through in the top 4. But hot dropping, regardless of whether casualties come through because of it, it's just not worth it.
So, I'll tell you what, Toby, I agree with you, but
Ну, давайте посмотрим 16 минут. Ни хрена просто. Это время, которое надо чем-то заполнять. Я не знаю. Либо чем-то заполнять, либо сокращать это время, уменьшать зону, уменьшать время. Ну, как-то это надо делать, как-то перерабатывать надо, иначе все... Ну, я хз. Как-то над спектатором, может быть, работать, что-то по-другому показывать. Я не знаю.
But can you always rely on the other team not wanting to fight you? Can you always expect there not being a team ready and waiting for you when you go to pick up the vehicle? No. And because that...
На нахер. Как они ездят вообще? Алло. Ну как в трактор-то он въехал? У него колес нету или что? Он же умрет сейчас.
Makes it too dangerous when you only have 12 games to play. When you have to get, like, when we add the factor that you have to be top 4 in an already stacked lobby, it's just, to me at least, I mean, it's their team, they can do whatever they want, but to me it's too much of a danger.
No, I know what you mean. Even if they don't attack each other and they move out early, which is what Rustamar is doing now, to be fair, you've got the anxiety there. Like, you never know when they're gonna turn and decide, you know.
Мне кажется, если бы Растанмар ехал с АРкой, он бы мог высадить вполне себе его. Такое ощущение складывается.
I love Rustanmar's indecisiveness to that one. Oh, Esla! Oh, Beryl! No, wait, Esla! Oh, ow! Okay, he's gone.
Both.
He got
dual wield.
It looked like it for a second. He was swapping back and forth between the guns so fast that it might just have happened for a second. But not quite the case that time around. Big Pony trying to make their way on forward. Win or Die doing the same thing. I like the proactiveness of Win or Die. We'll hold that thought for a second and try big over people.
Так, вот у нас закусятся сейчас энтропики. Ой-ой-ой! Мне кажется, он поздно стрелять начал. Минус Джимс. Джимса уже не спасут. Походу, ликвиды рассыпаются сейчас. Выглядит оно так.
GDE opted to leave early, which makes perfect sense in this kind of circle. Nice read, honestly, by Overpeakers here. Unfortunately, now, situation not quite that favorable for them. James down already. You have Clip at low HP. Mexi trying to defend from up above, and they do have Ivers somewhat isolated. And now look at this BBL. Vendalos is just full speed sending it into this fight. He must know what's going on the other side of the hill.
What is going on here? Guys, it's 3 minutes left to go in phase 1. We could be casting a phase 7 fight between these three teams right now, but this долго они файтятся, прям долго, реально. Ой-ой-ой-ой-ой. Это очень опасно. Ну, Джим сейчас вытечет, это 100%. Энтропики есть вариант, что они вообще отойдут.
This is Overpeakers kind of rotating on through and then getting backfilled by Entropic, who didn't think they were there. Leosh! That's not how you backflip a bike. That's how you land face first in the dirt. Now he's knocked because of it.
Oh man, that's when the X Games goes wrong. That was rough with the tire popping in midair, messing the rotate up on the bike as well. Ouch! I feel sorry for that.
Fortunate. Heaviness will find him. Will get to safety. No, Mexi taken down just last second before he could make that rotation on in now. I mean, again, Vart hearing multiple people around him has to try and play this one. Hold the angle. Lookarux doesn't peek around. Clip now spots 1 damage done, but no immediate follow-up.
I like that. He wasn't to know, of course, but
Вард еще никого не нокал. А почему Лукарукс может тут стоять? А где Мекси? А где Клип? А, Мекси в ноке. А, вот оно как, да?
While he's a solo player, he does have a pub action shotgun in hand. And how many times have we seen team get absolutely destroyed by shotguns? So in Tropic, yeah, these doors. I mean, once you force all these teams in on a line in a hallway, everything can happen, especially when there's a level 3 vest and a shotgun on the receiving end of it.
And for those of you who are wondering, this is it's like the sword off, but better.
This is such a smart play. They know what they're up against. They know they have a player there, but now they're lining them up for him. Not what you want to have happen. I was gonna compliment the fact that they push outside to get more space to maneuver between him. But Bart finds one, jumps for the second.
Сзади!
No, not gonna happen. Overpeak us out early, but Bart made it look scary for a second.
Эх, было бы прикольно, если бы Арт разобрался с ними всеми, конечно. Но это какой-то затяжной говнофайт был, блин. Ой, лаёшь! До свидули! Не доехал, пацан. Потеряли пацана. Так, Арти где? Вижу где. На фейзах сидит, да? Нормас у них. В целом, позиционка нормас. Но сейчас там будет жопа в той стороне. Что делать будут? У них еще сплит. Ну, для начала стакнуться, я так понимаю. Но нельзя тут жадно играть. Все, поехали, поехали. Смотрите, как над этим, над зоной сверху все крутят, блин, как стиралки. Нави принимают ПВ. Ой-ой-ой! Минус Мелман. Ой, там пацаны просто на 0 хп. Просто оба! 0 хп, блин.
And it's by the water, so good like a Poseidon thing. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. I love that.
Or King Triton, is that his name in English too? In the Little Mermaid film? I don't know. Maybe he has like a tripod as well.
Хорошо, хорошо высадили.
I gotta say, ever since Katie regrouped with his team on Wrangle, he's been putting up.
Пацаны поехали поверху перекручивать, походу. Слабо закрутили, надо повторить.
He's doing a very, very good job of it so far. But remember, there's 15 teams left to go here, so you don't want to peak too early and then not get your team into the placement points as well. We've seen some fantastic pop-off performances and Team Ascend. Oh, dear.
Ой, боже мой.
He was like, yeah, you know what? I deserve this. I'm done.
AFK.
I'm done. All day 4.
Oh, no.
See you next game.
That's horrible. I feel sorry for that. Also, another reason why I don't know how many people would agree with me. I'm probably going to get flamed for saying this.
Мне еще показалось, что их двое в машине были. Думал, все. Но они хорошо заехали. На данный момент, для данной стадии нормально.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's a great way to put it, to be fair.
Frenchie peeks on over, debated by the buggy down below. Michael peeks out, easy frag for him. And Ungrind goes down. And well, finally, I suppose we have a victor in the whole El Pozo hot dropping. So we'll see for the next game if they opt to go back there. Or if they do not win or die.
Гидрок за зоной сидит. У него транспорт-то хоть есть? Поливает там. Нави пока за синькой будут чекать, куда они могут дальше двигаться. Ну, я так понимаю, у них там есть варики. Никуда не спешат. Может быть, какие-то ресурсы решили подлутать. Ну, у них там весь край свободный, в принципе. Смотрите, энтропики опять хорошо. Что там Гидрокс без тачки делает один? Я вообще удивляюсь.
Pretty much. The left wedge that you guys see on the minimap there, that's unplayable terrain. So we know the circle is going to be shifting away from that. Ascend basically have the middle of the circle first dibs right now. So that's looking good for them. But they run the danger of other teams wanting that priority compound. If there are only 2 compounds in a shack, you can expect some teams to crash those 2 compounds. Yes. So it's by no means an easy, we're going to be fine till phase 7. You might get someone crashing you right now.
And this is why Na'Vi stayed in the blue. They didn't want to, bet on a tip of the trident essentially and then go down the road.
Нави, кстати, сейчас, если сильно влево закрутят, они, в принципе, могут спокойно заехать, да. А чё они прям в них едут? Почему ёпта не Зоцера не убивал? Ладно, пофиг. Видимо, там не очень удобно. Нави очень опасно играют, прям ошибаются.
Oh man, if Esports are able to win this fight, that first knock by Lyran would have been so critical, but the rest of Na'Vi pile into the compound and they do not give Lyran anything to shoot at. They know that there's a sniper waiting for them outside, so they needed to consolidate first.
Так, у винов получается один Гидрокс там где-то за синькой шмонается, да, на ноге? Вон он где-то там далеко. Нави засели в домах. Ну, их выкурить должны в целом. Дальше двигаться они не могут. Это турки, да? Подожди. Айра же не турок, а Лерон турок, по-моему, да? Тут тоже микс какой-то. Так, VBL приехали на энтропиков, сейчас умрут. Просто приехали в карман такой. Карман из энтропиков. Уф. О! Нави закрывают еще одного из футов. И еще один из футов нокается от другого типа. Так все хорошо для Нави складывается. Они сейчас одни на этом краю. Вы просто посмотрите. И они еще и... в них въезжает Фила. Это ГГ. Если они заедут, это тяжело будет выигрывать. Эксы, сделайте уже фраг хотя бы, жопошники. Ну, давай, Арти. Ну, давай, Чепух. Ну, стреляй нормально, тварь. Играет он Супер Пипл, блин. С СКСом. GDE will survive for now, but phase 4 begins to contract in 20 seconds. This is... Валера. Так, Фила куда? Фила мимо Нави едет. Фила мимо Нави едет, да. Слушайте, Нави хорошо. Их Лерон сейчас еще в них тут заедет. Минус Лерон.
by Team Elite as well by sitting north for a little while.
Артикс! Это первый его фраг на турнире, интересно, не? Надо его поздравить с этим. Нок дали. Надо поддержать Артикса.
The pink teams squaring off against one another this time around. Pink Venom out victorious.
It's the law, man. If they don't fire a bullet at each other and one of them dies, we just stop and reset the game and tell the players to go back to lobby. That's it. That's an illegal game. We have to stop it right there. Pink Venom and Pink Pony every single game.
О, Артикс еще кого-то! Или он там дотек просто? Доел его. Ой, хорош!
This circle so incredibly hard to play. And you can see Austrian Force now as well having to kind of estimate. Sure, we still got some hard cover, but for how much longer? And then if we don't have.
Так, попросил у него прощения, скажу. Так, молодость в ноке. Да, какое пивко? Я уже выпил. Бутылочку хватит мне. О! Сейчас еще Фейт нокнется, если будет жопа. Нави уже все, конечное. Гидрокс! Гидрокс, посмотрите, просто ползает тут вдоль дороги, блин. В ямке там, на обочине. А, молодость что, сдох? У Нави вроде есть тачки, да? Вроде есть. Может быть, на тачках еще выедут. Если колеса там целые на Мираде.
No, like it's a valley going both sides of the road, right? So anyone getting too close to that, suddenly it's a big open face that you have to make sure you've got angles covered so that teams can't shoot you from the opposite side. And yes, that can support multiple teams, but like maybe 3 or 4, not 10.
Фейт +1, они в чем там? В машине сидят? Сидят в машине, но это... Это жопа! Ой. Не, ну пацаны тут сдохли. Без шансов. Иван в ноке? Или там доели его? Я забыл уже киллфит, как рисуется.
Austrian Force just applied the pressure to force them back, and then Pink Venom came in, stole them, and Soccer now spots one easy one for him next. Looking in the other direction, got to reload quickly though, because there's opponents just over on the other side of the hill. And once again, a Scent Club from the comfort of the compound across the street, becoming a nuisance. Pains down once more.
This is frustrating, to say the least, for Austrian Force. That push was beautiful. I loved watching it. The problem is Pink Venom and Entropic were both there ready to third party. So unfortunately, as much as they would have liked to...
Едут без колеса. Взорвутся, походу. Ну, кстати, еще в зоне за машиной. Гидрокс!
Let's see if that's going to be a factor or not. Roxy around the side, he goes just 10 spare bullets now. Not a whole lot to work with. Fortunately, he's already inside the circle.
Next, sir. Oh, this is... I mean, somewhat expected, but moving towards the road just means the high ground where teams can sort of have a little bit of cover. They can rest from the fights like in Tropic right now. That's going to start becoming less and less. There's nowhere for the teams to be able to hide. Team Elite finish off the fellas who, remember, they tried to send it in vehicles earlier and lost a couple of players, so that was like the remnants of their team. Pink Venom are doing well, but they have no time to rest. Even if they win this fight against Austrian Force, how are they going to reset? I feel like a third party's coming in almost immediately.
Where is the example? I mean, he got placement points. We talked about Gideon an example. It's about Tixers the first of all. Why is Kazoo not peeking over? He just had a teammate knock. Now they're trying to rest, and he's not covering his teammate at all. The rest does come through, but with the amount of damage being done
towards
Austrian Force, you would have to expect that he would have been the kind of element of surprise over the top. Issue could be that Team Elite had an angle. You can see them in green on the other side of the road, but I'm surprised he didn't try and pounce knowing that Pains had taken that much damage.
Maybe he thought there was another team behind him, so he couldn't commit himself forward. That's the only thing I can think of. But
they get the rest, though.
Yeah, they get the rest.
All
there's no one behind them as well, so they're playing backs free.
That could have been them playing with the entire hill under control, though, not having to worry about
Agreed.
Over on the other side. Surprise, but then again, who am I to say? Liking the way we didn't get to see it on camera, but Ascent, they saw Entropic in a two-way split down towards the southwest and instantly punished it. As soon as QBE and Lucarooks went further north, they get two, and now they know that whatever pressure comes in from the west...
Слушайте, а Гидрокс реально поживет, если его там мужчина не увидит, который у них за спиной остался.
But that could be the winning factor for Ascent, knowing that there's no immediate threat coming on the west side.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Entropic being thinned out there allows Ascent to just focus on this east side, and they don't have to worry too much. Entropic are playing for time. They're not here to outmuscle everyone. They're here to wait for the right time to go in with the points and try and... Okay.
Can we just get a Gideon cam picture?
Он в зоне. Он, между прочим, в зоне.
Keep him there so we can keep watching how stealthy he's being. That'd be great.
Well, Team Elite still got 4 players up and alive. Dead is the flank player. They don't want to commit everyone to the same hillside. Makes sense with nades and everything that could be coming their way. So Dead using a car for cover. Still got the Rich there as well. And essentially, I mean, I like the play, even though he's not peeking, even though he's not over-aggressing as we get the slow-mo shot coming through from Chris. He's forcing Lucarooks back by just...
Как будто что-то такое невероятное в этом выстреле было.
He's making space for his team. Because Lucarooks, I can't peek that. I don't know if it's 1 or 3 people in that car. There's no way I stay alive. Because if I take that fight on the hilltop and I lose it, QB is dead. I am the reason QB stays alive.
А Гидрокс еще поживет, вы понимаете? Я в шоке просто. Я не удивлюсь, если он топ-3 какой-нибудь заберет. А, походу его спалили. Нет? Нет еще.
These last couple of engagements they've had have just not been well structured.
Zocker was still rezzing when Kazoo peeked over the edge, though. Like, in a straight-up fight there, where Zocker didn't even have his gun out yet, you would expect Kazoo to win the 1v1. I feel like Zocker's reactions there were insane.
It was.
Энтропики вдвоем остались. Они что, так с турками подрались неудачно или что?
That's true, yeah. If there was a second player there, I could see them getting the wipe on both, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you have the chance to get the trade, just get the trade.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, again, once Project Underdog kind of got the idea that maybe we should focus east now with the circle headed further towards us. That's, of course, when it became hard for them to regroup.
Там Гидроксу бы куда-нибудь до тачки или до камня бы куда-то, чтобы не просто в опене валяться. О, все, минус Гидрокс сейчас будет, скорее всего, нет? А, нет, смотри, закрыли. И, может быть, смотреть туда и больше и не будут. Ну, еще 2 поинта он заработал, вот только что, просто лежа. Так что это неплохо. Команда Артикса на последнем месте с 5 поинтами.
Come the end of this game and get a couple of points for that. I don't know how many smokes they have left, though. I think they're going to need a few more.
Oh, Gideon. By the way, gotta remember, I'm still alive on the other side. He's somehow made top 5 with it, too. I just looked back at the map feed, and, I mean, Brexco wasn't DC'd, so my
Эх, спалили Гидрокса.
But my best guess is that he wanted to beat Entropic to that position. He did not want to make it possible for them to get there. I'm liking that Entropic are denying points here. It's teams that you do not want to give a potential top spot for towards by adding extra points to it. So take the defeat. In the meantime, we'll let the remaining 3 teams fight for the win here. Kilyakai down as well. Ascent had a good position, but once again, I mean, Joro, team elite. Smart rotations in this one.
And Kilyakai and Mika,
Его вообще прощают, он просто стоит, стреляет, и по нему никто ответ не кидывает.
It's Chris is going to do his best. We've seen basically highlight reels from him today already, but he is still 1 versus the 2 currently alive from Team Elite and all 4 from Project Underdog, who are still very happily in this game.
Ну, X-Крису некуда играть, ему надо взрывать, наверное, себя. Хотя вот этот камень, он, если туда добежит, он будет жить. Он реально будет жить, если туда добежит. Если его там не контролят прям в несколько рыл.
And Project Underdog to fight one another. Chris could just sit back, be the solo player who lets the Titans brawl it out and then potentially sneak in a good win. We've seen Chris do crazy things before. This would not be the first time.
It wouldn't be. And Chris is very capable of getting those like 1v2, 1v3s, or the opening knock with a really good frag. You can't leave Chris alone for too long to scheme because he's very good.
Ну типа, а что ты делаешь?
First he has to get into zone, and that's going to be noisy and highly visible. Team Elite will not miss that shot.
4v4, absolutely massive game for both of these 2 teams to come out and win.
А вот этот камень что, вообще не?
So far 6 for Team Elite, trying to rack up even more. Could be a 10-kill game for them should they come out victorious. Anonym, no helmet, only mollies to use, no smokes, no more cover than the car and the rock he's currently got to play with. Circle Center is gonna favor Team Elite, but they don't have a lot of room to maneuver either.
4v4, phase 8. Oh, when's the last time we even saw a phase 8? Beautiful opening frag there. Scream getting Anonym and actually doing a lot of damage to the player he was with as well. Advantage Team Elite. What can they do off the back of it? Where's the follow-up utility? Where's the push in? It can't just be Scream to push in alone with no frags. Let's see the Molotovs. Let's see some extra frags. Let's see what they make of it.
You don't shoot at the knock player.
О!
Try and see if you can get the kill. He gets a nade.
Главное теперь хорошо кинуть.
That could be the winning condition here. That is going to be an absolutely perfect damage shot. Ali taking down low, but finds one. Somehow stays alive. Bad boy though comes over the top. Finds one in return. 2 remaining on this side of Project Underdog, but Risk finds once more.
And this is trying to take it absolutely to the wire. Riz needed to get a knock there, didn't. It's now 2v1 Fragger versus the world. The good news is he knows that the other 2 are further.
У чувака нет смоков вообще.
But it is still a straight up 1v2 no matter what way you paint it.
Yeah, they're not gonna get those reses. Fragger right now has the element of surprise. They do not know where he is. They think he's up behind the rock side. But if you spend too long here, it's not going to be a 1v2. It's going to be a 1v3, buddy. Now he's blind. Look at how perfect that was. That's him blind at least for a couple more seconds. Gets up.
А, так они еще и поднимаются.
You gotta give the info from your teammate. Ali is still crawling around. Now that's 1 player up.
Ну, он проиграл тут стопудово. Хотя бы если бы он не давал подымать и разыгрывать как-то пытался, у него тогда, может быть, были бы шансы. 1 в 2, но 1 в 3 там вообще без варианта. 1 в 2-то там очень сложно. Ну что, у нас с вами заключительная игра сегодняшнего дня сейчас начнется. Я думаю, перерыв будет совсем небольшой, поэтому не разбегаемся. Не забываем ставить лайк. У нас трансляция не только на ютубчике, еще и на твиче идет. Кому интересно, можете смотреть на твиче. Кому удобнее там.
And staying on the other side of the road to make sure that no Team Elite player can try and utilize the roadside. But as you say, I mean, whenever they lose one on the rock, and I believe it was Ali gets down to real low HP, the cavalry has to arrive. You have to commit to that. You have to commit to the position. You have to make the move on forward. But worked out for Team Elite in the end of it. Great game for them.
А я тут, говорит, ну вот ты тут, да.
Chicken dinner winner in game number 5, throwing a cat amongst the pigeons there on day 1 of the scoreboard. Let's have the desk break that down.
You know what? I'm just gonna follow Jorasar's lead and keep going with that.
Так, ну получается, завтра тоже надо будет смотреть, что ли?
I don't care. I want to know why
Группу
the
Б?
underdogs, or if the underdogs
Будем
lost the
смотреть?
chicken by
Или будем
crossing the
смотреть
road
только
eventually?
группу, где Арти играет?
The chicken, aka the circle, decided to cross the road and they had to cross it. No, I would say in general, you would need like a good 10-15 smokes for that to develop here. I'm happy to see Team Elite get these 10 kills in the chicken dinner. They had the roadside. I will say though, I was hoping for Ascent to be able to do a little bit more with the compound.
Блин, а на Твиче мне, кстати, до сих пор 30 лет. Надо поправить.
Going down in kind of rough situations where they potentially, with a few smokes, could have pushed out and maybe taken some of the.
Мне 31 лет, блин. Так, ладно, сейчас.
But yeah, they ended up going in, you know, one by one. Maybe they didn't have any more smokes. Maybe they were lacking utility. Maybe their communications wasn't on point. What their plans was. But when phase 6, phase 7 was about, and their compound wasn't in anymore, that's where I really wanted to see them do something proactive. But Team Lead had dead out on the west side. They still haven't kind of take care of, so it delayed everything for them. And yeah, happy to see Bad Boy up here though, the fastest jiggle peeker in the west.
Look at that though, in Tropic. I mean, still sitting in first top player for kills in the last match, Kylaris, which is, I mean, we spoke about this earlier. This is dangerous because they're still racking in the kills.
Карта.
Doesn't really matter. They're gonna
Карта старая указана.
Yeah, the circles were rough for a lot of teams. Entropic wasn't entirely a total victim of this circle. They had a good portion of the southwest to play with, and from there had some pretty decent angles to play as a whole. But Team Elite, look at them across the board showing up here. And I think something that really resonates with me for them is the 2-2 split that they had across the road. I think it was with 10 teams alive or something like that. It gave them perfect opportunity to transition to whichever side they may choose with an anchor position, and then have kind of the cover as they make that transition happen. And that was also obviously
инфа по девайсам тоже старая, надо поменять.
Have the right angles against the same teams.
Не занимаюсь вообще.
Of course, with Scream, who we're looking at now, Avenger, he had a really good game, got a stack of kills, which obviously helped them as well. It's going to get them some points on the board.
Арти разве играет? Вроде еще не начинал. Да как это не начинал? Он 2 фрага в этой каточке сделал, между прочим, Скуби. Я даже ему написал в телегу, что он ёбарь нереальный, поэтому... Ты как? Ты как там? А, пёс.
You know, push on to Project Underdogs. So it was, yeah, it was really good to see, and also Scream with these 4 kills here out of the 10 was really nice.
It was a really interesting, a couple of interesting circles, and Avenger, you got quite excited while we were watching the games. You seemed to like those. What was it about those circles that you found enjoyable?
You know, circle 2 and 3 got really
Ищешь, что где кость подкинет. Ну, завтра можем вместе посмотреть, если по кайфу. Вечерком.
It's really hard to play around there, but there are so many teams that actually set themselves up kind of well along the road on both sides. The rotations were really good. I expected Entropic actually to get out in a better situation than they ended up doing.
Как у тебя там спина?
See, especially here in the start when we saw the first couple of circles, me and James were like, okay, Ascent, this is your time to kind of close out and maybe make sure and cement your top 4 and take that spot home. But unfortunately, they didn't close out the game for this year, considering how good of a first circle it was for them.
Kylaris, from your point of view, taking a look at what we've seen on Miramar so far, are the performances what you were expecting?
Подзаканчивать начал, красавчик.
That maybe you were a bit surprised to see.
To be fair, I'm pleasantly surprised to see Team Elite getting themselves this amount of points on the board. It's not often in Europe, in EMEA, etc.
Наконец-то взялся за ум.
Region as a whole that we have, you know, our Lebanese players.
Так, чатик, я пойду там сгоняю, что там Мария Викторовна.
They're able to hang with some of these guys in a lobby like this, as much as, you know, they were kind of down here in this area, in these circles, being able to hold out the positions and flow with the game. Still, yeah, a few good conversions and a few more pump-ups like this across the board could move them into the next stages.
So we'll have to keep an eye on Team Elite. They did have a few moments early on where they were getting some kills. They just weren't quite getting into the final four. Now, obviously, they've had a taste of that chicken. Maybe it'll be enough to drive them forward. But we're still seeing those big names finishing high up. And if they're not finishing in the high placements eventually, they are getting the kill points. Something for a team like Team Elite to be concerned about, because like we've said, potentially only one spot up for grabs at this point.
Yeah, they need to continue, obviously, to get into this year. One good game is not enough. They're going to need to have at least 2 or 3 good games to cement our positions within that top 4 here. So the last game of the day, and also on Saturday, where they're playing the last 6 games, they have to continue getting some of those chicken dinners and to continue to get those double-digit kill wins. Going to be extremely hard, because as we were talking about here, I think a theoretical cutoff with this group here in Group A is going to be triple digits.
I want to talk a little bit more about that when we take a look at the standings, which we're not going to do right now. Instead, we're going to take a quick break so you can get some refreshments before we jump into the final game. We'll see you right after this.
Что у нас? Через минутку следующая игра будет? Ой, можно косынку пока раскинуть. Я тут на даче была, нашла карты, вспомнили с сестрой, как играть в дурака и в пьяницу. А потом я сидела, вспоминала, как косынку раскладывать. Лет 10 карты в руки не брала и в телефоне не играла.
By a team we haven't spoken about much at all because they haven't really featured much as we expected.
Aside from the first game, right? I mean,
Так,
obviously
Экстаз,
we
давай там
actually
не
had
лечи.
Smash
Не
as
лечи
the
давай,
player
не
from that
лечи.
game because of how much he was able to put up in Rozhok, considering they were in a rough spot. But BBL,
Мы взрослые люди, знаем уж сами, как нам, что нам лучше, где нам. Правильно?
And then it's not BBL up there. And when you look at this lobby, I do think that that is one of the teams that's kind of the big outlier, not being able to take one of those top.
Или что, ты прививку поставил, простудой болеть перестал?
They could rise to the occasion, but they are one of these teams, Avenger, I think it's fair to say, where sometimes they have a bit of rougher earlier stages, and then they come back later on, and then they're able to advance. So maybe we see something like that, eh, Martin?
Yeah, we've seen them multiple times, you know, in these recent double elimination formats where they might have not, you know, have qualified first stage, but then they come out and absolutely both smash and grab everything in terms of points, kills that there is available. So I'm not too worried for them. I would love to see them in fourth here, but once we get into next week, and I know it's in the future, where we're playing...
Ни разу не болел, что, ни разу не простывало? Да не верю я. Есть люди, которые никогда не простывают?
Also with potentially, you know, Entropic and Navi, Overpeakers not being in those groups, and also the best 4 teams in another group is not going to be there. It's going to be much easier.
Что там у тебя за иммунитет? Я не понял.
Right now, a lot of pressure is coming onto them because there are top teams that are really, really hot and on fire right now. And as you can see here, with Entropic, Overpeakers, and Navi being quite far in the lead, currently twice as many points on 4th place with Austrian Force than BBL currently has after 5 games, which is kind of a statement. But I still think that our cutoff, you're going to be safe, I would say, if you are in the triple digits. If you get 100 points, I would say that you are safe going into the very last match, 12th match. So that is that's going to be really interesting. Entropic right now, after 5 games, they have 50, so they're going to continue to rack up points in the last one, and then they're going to have a pretty easy time come Saturday.
The team that I'm keeping an eye on is Asenkla.
Это она про с утра?
You see the difference between them and Austrian Force now, only 2 points. We mentioned them early on, and they've slowly, I think, got better as the day has progressed. I mean, could they be the team that kind of knocks Austrian Force out?
Блин, ну, Артикс, конечно, мощно играет, мощно. Ну, или не играет.
Yeah, there's still question marks around it for BBL for me, considering, as you know, the things that we've kind of mused about over the last minute or so in regards to if they were able to show up in this.
Мне кажется, когда я смотрю турики и за кого-то болею, эта команда сразу на дно опускается. Так, донат на карту Сбербанка от Андрея Сергеевича. Машка, выздоравливай. Она говорит, она мне смс-ку скинула. Я, говорит, даже не знаю, это тебе или мне. Спасибо тебе огромное, Андрей Сергеевич. Спасибо большущее. Ее там накормили колесами, у нее сейчас все в порядке. Температура спала практически.
As much as I say, I think it's guaranteed by those 3, there is always the opportunity, Avenger, for one of our top 3 teams to not have a good day tomorrow.
Yeah, well, you know, I think with Overpeakers and this whole situation here is gonna be that we have a second chance to them. We even have a third chance to them.
Блин, Артикс опять мне написал, он походу опять сдох.
I'm not too worried for them. I think right now with the form and what they've been able to do right now, I feel like they're confident within the lobby, and you can tell that they're maybe 8 teams in terms of current skill and what they're approaching with the meta is. So I'm not too worried for them. Again, they have Picardo, Pachinki for free. It is an insanely good spot. If not top 2, then at least top 3 in terms of preference, at least. Always center location, always able to get in, so you don't need any alt drops.
Мне кажется, просто не надо болеть ни за кого. А
А
то я замечаю, турики не смотрю, потом узнаю, о, ребята прошли, молодцы, там хорошие результаты, тут. Потом начинаю следить за туриком, потому что, ну, знакомые ребята играют. А они, блядь, играть перестают. Может, это во мне причина? Просто я руина.
On Miramar one last time. It's match 6, Group A here at PCS 7 Europe. I'm Joris. With me is Toby, and we have a 7 to 1 o'clock plane path by the looks of things. No island circle, not today, Toby. I'll get one for you tomorrow, I promise.
You say that now. I don't think that's gonna happen. But I like the optimism. I've given up, you know. I've given up at this point because I've realized that it's only when you least expect it. And now if I just go, it's never gonna happen. That's when it actually happens, you know? So
sure.
So I have, you know, wink wink, given up on the hope for
Wink wink.
But having said that, as you say, Western playing once more. Maybe the Oasis ending that I have now also debated to not happen.
Вон, чепухАртикс. Вот он, мужчина, который сдох опять.
Yes, indeed. So we have some adjustments being made here. It looks like GDE are in Chumacera, trying to get a little bit of damage done pre-parachute. I appreciate the ambition. Let's put it that way.
You know, I mean, you gotta take a shot to get the knock, and unfortunately, that time around it didn't quite happen. But this circle hard towards the east. We're going. You know what? If we ain't gonna get no aces ending, Campo Militar. I feel like it's been a while since we've been up there. 2 shots fired early game once again, and this, of course, is the result of a very edge-heavy plane path. Teams forcing to stay past from one another and try and make circles.
Can we talk about how that caravan was 2/3 buried?
Yeah,
that was weird, man. Like well, because like all the buildings and stuff, it's not like they're buried in sand up to their windows, right? But randomly the caravan's buried. So what that means is that long before any buildings ever existed on Miramar, the caravans were there first.
Joro, we're in a desert on Miramar, right?
Yeah.
Why are there hay bales?
Oh.
In order to grow wheat? Or whatever grain.
Как придумать? Ну, братан, он нормально играет. Ну, это же командная игра. У них позиционка говно.
No, this is perfect, No, this is perfect. So what we've done is we've just concluded 2 things. 1, the caravans were here long before the rest of civilization were.
Obviously, they're like the dinosaurs of Miramar.
2, Miramar was once like Erangel, and the hay bales are all that's left.
It's PUBG law. You're learning it here firsthand. Also, there has never... The whole idea of window bars is just... It was a bad idea to begin with, but yeah, it's
didn't work too well.
Deep law. It's deep law now. We're going full investigative.
We got to leave something for the next comic book, right?
I don't know.
You can't reveal it all
for
today.
the next PUBG lore videos that are being released. Why were there hay bales on Miramar? Find out in the next episode of What the Hell Are We Talking About?
You know what we will be finding out today, though, is whether or not the teams that are still at the top after 5 games continue to stretch that lead. The desk talk about sponging up a lot of those points. You get some really strong teams that are very good at keeping up their momentum several games in a row. Your Navis, your Entropics. If they grab the majority of these points, there are a few teams at the bottom of the leaderboard now that I'm already worried for. So this game, a lot hinges on it for them.
Alia, we're seeing his stats on the right side of the screen. I just gotta give this man a massive shout out. And not only because obviously he's an amazing player, but I remember back in the PEL Contenders days, he was playing on a team that no longer exists called Team Swamp. And safe to say they weren't faring all that well. Alia was always the player that would be kind of...
Выговариваю Артиксу свои недовольства по поводу игры. Его.
Off-angle positions and try and make some aggressive plays, and he was the one succeeding on the team, but the team as a whole didn't really fare too well. And whenever I saw him getting picked up by Navi, I thought of the team that didn't fare too well and go, how in the hell is Alia ever gonna perform at the level that, well, Tornado Energy at the time was performing at? But this man has risen to the occasion and delivered top tier performance after top tier performance ever since he joined the Boys in Yellow. And I just think it's amazing to see a player that came from contenders essentially kind of out of nowhere, just starting to perform, then get in with the roster, having played with the same team now for a long time and delivering at the level he does. Thank you, Alia, for showing that you can go from nothing to being a top tier.
Ой, ну вот они едут. А уже центр зоны весь забитый. Не по WhatsApp, а по Телеграму, во-первых, во-вторых, он уже сдох. Вот как экзамплы чувак пропустил? Вообще не стрелял. Он там один, что ли, в городе? Чё он там очканул? Ну да, Рыныч один. Ну все равно как-то.
Considering what we've seen today, we have yet to find our first knock. That's impressive, because a lot of teams had to make that west to east transition.
И они, походу, эту игру снова без хилов сыграют. Небольшие спойлеры. Ну, мне так кажется, я не знаю достоверно. Фига, он вышел с тачки.
This is 4.5 kilometers away from the circle, if I may add. We're all the way down towards the southern side. We're south of Los Leones with what's going on here. And there you go, two teams on the same path. And this is where you can't default anyone. It's just accidental timing. They haven't looted anywhere near one another. And they start rotating, not even at the same time, but they hit that intersection at the exact same time. That is just unfortunate.
And what the teams choose to do, of course, if they can see that in advance and veer off course to make sure, you know, they don't crash into each other, that's great. But if you're going over the crest of a hill and you literally have half a second to react, guess what? Those fights are gonna happen.
Но этот поц должен умирать, который под ними сидит, или они про него не знают? Опять врезались в тачки, да что? Что с людьми, которые за тачками ездят? Даже я так плохо не катаюсь.
That they were like 9 out of 10 chances that they would not have run into each other.
And now I feel like there's a little bit of a struggle. I think Pink Venom would be okay.
Они, походу, реально про него не знают.
If it wasn't for one of their members right up in Gusiara's face. I'm not even sure if they know he's here.
I'm just confused where.
Ну все, этого пацана не подымут в поле.
Take a fight to Pink Venom that doesn't have the word pink in their team name.
Wait, so that means Pink Venom has to win this fight because they have.
А он едет пытаться или что?
It's foretold.
Yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles.
Right.
Goose trying to get boost back on up again. I think you're right in saying that they have no clue that Voxy is prone just outside. Issue for Voxy is he.
Рыныч смеша нокает. Его доедают, походу.
Again. This is 3 games now where Smash is the one to fall before a fight even probably breaks out and he gets flushed. This is, I mean, again, I'm not trying to take anything away from the rest of BBL because they're all talented players, but losing Smash
Big Bulls отъезжает.
Has been fired in 3 out of 6 games today. I think is a big part of the reason why BBL are performing the way they are.
Every Miramar game, right? It's
essentially, yeah.
There might have to be adjustments made to the way that they go out and scout, for example, because it's becoming a problem now. They definitely don't want to replicate this tomorrow. So let's keep that in the back of our minds and see what BBL do in the Miramar game.
Что-то экзальты как-то широко играют.
When Smash got knocked, all he was doing was talking to the rest of his team. He looked very calm. It looked like he was trying to say what they should do next. So let's see if they take some positives out of this.
Чел просто стреляет, а комментарий Jesus.
How do they see everything?
О, хорошо.
observers, you're amazing. I love you. Thank you.
Nailed it. Well done.
We'll see if I love you too, or if it's gonna be Melman and Uber who get the cast the love in this case.
Ну, Нави доезжают сюда все. Энтропикам нельзя спешить. О! А что он делал? Он случайно прыгнул, походу.
Evas unfortunately getting caught on the backside. His own Murado actually blocking him from going around the side of that building. So Entropic, one person down, but importantly, only QB really in this compound. Nailup and Lukaruk so
Этот будет
far
текать.
away that QB can't go down. He has to get the next knock and hold his position. Otherwise, I don't see a way out for Entropic.
Whether this be miscommunication or what, I'm not sure, but it's a rare case of Entropic kind of failing at a rival.
Но его должны выбить из тачки.
I don't want to say miscommunication, but not. Yeah, I mean, just suppose miscommunication and not agreeing on whether to pull up on this or not. And unfortunately, they lose two because of it.
Entropic and Na'Vi, two teams, of course, that were responsible for back-to-back chicken dinners earlier today. Two of the teams that are fighting for some of the top spots in this lobby, but they're meeting early on here in game number 6. Entropic 2 down now.
Пацаны лутают своего тиммейта. Видимо, да, те уехали.
Weston trying to peek on forward, see what he can find. What he finds is Team Elite trying to make their way on forward into this next once again Eastern Circle. A lot of the teams, of course, opted to go pretty deep on the first one because of how many teams were hard out towards the west, so they knew there was space to maneuver. So a lot of teams also already in this one, despite the fact that this next circle hasn't even started closing in yet. We only have Ascent and GD, who obviously have been rotating the entire game. Then we have Pink Venom,
Example, Nokia.
Their skirmish in the west side, and then the teams coming in on the north side as well. So everyone else already pretty well established inside the circle, really. So for these four teams moving in late, Joro,
А что таблицу для нас спрятали?
That's right, and because of the nature of that long road in the middle, there are going to be more teams than normal who are happy to sort of sit in and around the outskirts, because the further into circle you go, you know, the more you're risking getting shot at by 2 or 3 teams.
Тем временем 12 минут игры прошло, в игре померло 6 человек, все команды еще живые. Очень интересно, спасибо. Спасибо, спасибо. Столько экшена, столько интересных моментов. Так интересно смотреть. Вообще ни грамма не засыпаю.
What he's expecting, maybe thinking one is going to peek up over the top, but prone down for a second, whether it be a fat finger on whichever key he has to prone, or it be intentional, I'm not sure, but prone's down and not wanting to take shots on Project Underdog. I'm a little curious as to why they didn't, up to at least just to some extent, force them away, especially now that they, I would assume...
Арти Т3, Гроза...
I don't think enough shots have been fired for them to confirm it's a two-way split.
I mean, they saw the cast. They should be able to see how many.
I feel like they should be able to work it out from the vehicles, and they want the shots to confirm it, if that makes sense. I'm not sure they've confirmed it yet, but they should have a pretty good idea.
You know, it's a fun circle.
Гидрокс там, походу, не проедет сейчас.
When has that ever happened?
А, ну там его не законтролят вроде как. Мука сдох от зоны.
Get drugs just exactly inside the car.
I love the 180 wheelie there.
Can we? This guy, what? His average like damage done per shot has.
Ну, пока вот смотришь по карте, и вроде как у них все не так уж и плохо. У них есть место, где играть, куда дальше двигаться. У них есть место, откуда посмотреть, куда дальше двигаться. То есть, в теории пацаны должны сейчас нормально себя чувствовать. Но как они сдохнут, мне интересно. Типа, слишком долго будут сидеть за синькой и не смогут зайти нормально туда, он еще Сайлерс заезжают в Аску.
What is the average? Well, I mean, yeah, that's gonna drag down the average by quite a margin. But then we know that the people still have 50 average.
Хорошо! Артикс доесть, команда Артикса может доесть Зоцера. Да, доели.
I know it's German former teammates of yours, but don't align with them. Get out of there.
And that's why James, by the way, swapped straight over to the SLR to try and confirm the kill instead of continuing to shoot at the vehicles, because he knows if he keeps going for another knock, that gets stolen. And it still got stolen. So if anyone's wondering why they go straight for the knocks, these points are important, man. It's such a kill point heavy lobby.
Oh, yeah. Vasco peeks on over, looking to see what he can find. I'm not sure if they're aware. Well, now they are that they spotted them. They're foot esports players up on the hillside. That should be pretty easy peasy one.
Прыгунок, блин. Напрыгался. Но его там, наверное, могут поднять. Если на тачке заедут.
Just about making his way behind there, but it's quite another matter to buy yourself enough time to get a safe revive, and there might be other teams involved as well, so plenty of interesting stuff going on in this terrain so far.
660 meters as well on the knock from Fairest. Solid bolt shots coming in there.
And it's not a one-off either. He's been great.
No, he's been doing it twice now this game. Goes to question how many times it has happened off camera last game.
Ой-ой-ой. Там у пацана вообще 0 реакции просто у этого анонима. Просто жесть. Они же знали, что к ним подходят. Я что-то ничего не понял вообще. Как так можно было рассыпаться вообще? А какой призовой фонд у ПКС сейчас? Есть инфа? Мужички, Лукас там надо дожать до 100 как минимум.
I mean, look at the amount of space they've gotten. If the circle goes to them, which it kind of does, I mean, they do have to go down the hill. They do have to go down the hill.
Молодость где-то там один гуляет, помер от ликвидов.
No, this is, they've got a lot of, you know, sometimes we see like a phase 5 or 6 and one team, you know, Na'Vi and Northern Lights would be great examples. Oh, there's 6 teams left, but they've got 40% of the circle to themselves. This is the kind of situation where fellas can carve that out for themselves. And 2 zones from now, this could end up being a very, very favorable position for them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it already is a terrible circle for many. 6 of 15 teams have to cross a road. To which, on the other side, there really ain't anything to play from. Sorry to break it to you guys, but you're in for a tough one here. First of the 5 to make the play is going to be BBL trying to make their way on through. GDE immediately there to follow, but they're getting butchered by the teams waiting on the other side, trying to make the run. Not gonna happen. GDE torn apart in transition.
У пацанов вебки, конечно, 0 FPS вообще. 0 освещения.
So they've got a horrible choice to make as well. Do you go early because you're already on the edge of circle and you know exactly who's straight inside? Or do you gatekeep everyone behind you but you go in super late? It's not an easy decision to make.
Really isn't. Subila trying to peek on over, see what he can get. BBL in the meantime goes down.
Нави поехали.
Not gonna happen. Navi trying to do the exact same thing.
Хорошо.
6 teams to make this play so far.
И тут же заезжают Artix.
Us managed to make their way across the street.
Pink Pony pick up another 2 kills to their name, so it looks like they're
Сейчас опять взорвутся нахер.
One of, if not the last team in here, and in exchange.
Ой, бля.
Red zone incoming. That's Austrian Force. Beautiful initial nades onto Exalt. They're not only on the back foot, they're at risk of being extinct.
Yep. Vasco, unfortunately, nowhere near his teammates here, opted to push further up the hillside, and that leaves Paints alone with Silas. Silas now down.
Oh, ну ГГ.
Make the play here. Try backstab. Exalt on the other side. Throw the nade first, then go over and shoot to get.
Там Риныч вышел в спину. Покажите, как Риныч их будет.
Possible, I should say. They will fall down. Rhino Luck able to get the kill. Pains as well, getting some damage done in.
Brutal there. Those initial 2 Molotovs really set the tone. And
ну, что тут скажешь? Валерьянтикс, блин. Приехали, в одной куче вышли, стояли.
Maintaining full control out east. Vasco in the meantime trying to peek on over. They do manage to get Silas back up alive, and look at that.
Щебень.
Working together and take out Foot Esports in 10.
And Foot Esports again not even spotting that.
Валерьянтикс он.
On top of that hill, not expecting someone to come at them from this angle. So Austrian Force now Next circle, they are closest to center as well. They've got a decent position, but they have to go to those loot boxes quickly, pick up extra smokes, get utility, prepare for the next fight, because you don't want to be caught short if you have to hard shift.
Yeah, no. Oh, Pink Venom. Well, they were fighting early. Now they're surviving their way into a shack, at least. In the meantime, Pink Pony, on the other side of things, have to take this fight. So Navi Sabila gets to back on off. Flash thrown forward allows Ryan a little more time to maneuver. They're going to try to wrap around. I like this idea of wrapping around the side. Uber down, example down. Perfect two-way punch from Pink Pony over the hilltop.
Navi out of this game, just outside of the placement points. So they've gotten a decent haul today so far.
Табличку нам не показывают.
Where they sit once the dust settles at the end. Lucarus still holding on. But in 10 seconds time, well, in 2 minutes time, that circle will be completely closed for phase 5, and they need a plan to get in. I'm not sure there is one from where they are now.
No, Rusted Meister looking his way as well, not expecting Lucarux to get out of there alive. We'll see what's going to happen. It's a steep hill to climb, if there's one to do it, though. It would be Lucarux. We saw what it looked like in his early years of existence. Now he's grown to be a strong PUBG fighter. We'll see if he has what it takes to at least get some more placement points there.
Overpeakers being forced to use the vehicle to get further, and take a look at how sparse this terrain is, unfortunately, for the ex-Liquid boys. They're doing their best. They only took the Murado in as far as absolutely necessary. So they're playing it smart. They're not risking a full send into the middle like we saw a couple of teams try in the previous games, forced to do that. They're taking it inch by inch, trying to keep all 4 alive as long as possible.
10 kill for fellas. Good info to Lucarux, really, as well here, too. Did Michael, is that nade going downhill, or is it going over towards Fat Boy? I think it would be in direction of Fat Boy. Yes, indeed it is. They're still fighting up over the top, and that, again, allows for Lucarux to peek further, push further forward. There are still 3 players on Team Elite alive, so the more damage Michael can do, the more probable he's making Lucarux's chances of survival.
We now have the fellas calming down the tempo a little bit. They've gone through several teams, right? They've been playing super fast. Now's the time for them to chill out, play things a little bit slower, gather a bit more information. Completely the opposite for the Overpeakers now. They're making an even bigger commit. Notice that the Murado is out. This is all about the replacement vehicle, the Bronco.
Иглтон играет не в европейском регионе же.
Again, playing it slow and steady, trying to get their position in the top 3, top 4.
Я уже говорил, кстати, что все нормально у нее. Что ее накормили колесами, температуру отбили почти.
And oh my lord, Team Elite, if you only knew what's on the other side, down to 1, able to stay alive at least through the first one here, but they're running, they're not hearing anything, and he's right behind them, still got a first aid to play with, still got 45 seconds. You do not allow for Lucarux to potentially go out and do something here.
I love that trigger discipline from Lucarux as well. He had the opportunity to spray and knock one and even flush and get the point, I think. But as soon as he saw that he could make it into circle, placement points are worth more than that. Love it.
And now the 3 is down.
Oi, 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 oi.
Has become that much smaller. Kazoo, solo player off-angled from Pink Venom, spots James over the top. James, no clue.
Минус Джеймс.
A danger looming in the hills up above.
Пацанам надо заходить быстрее.
James was playing the backfield position, the overhead protection from Overpeakers as they make their way towards the compound, but that's all gone now. Now they have to commit inside.
Варду надо заползать к ним.
Overpeakers stopping Pink Venom and Pink Pony from fighting each other. They're the 2 teams that are in the middle right now. And I have to say, Pink Venom are really impressing. They've had some great plays today. Pink Pony as well have had a fantastic game number 6. They're into the placement points, but they need to take it a bit further. And the fellas continue their rampage over on the east.
Michael just saw him too. That should be GG for Lucarux. Unfortunate. Good effort by him to stay alive for as long as he has. Now Hagatori finding 2. That's happening elsewhere on the map. That's GG. Indeed it is, Michael. Finds it 12 kills and count.
Охренеть, тут 3 команды просто в 3 домах. 3 будочки, 3 команды. Чё за фигня?
Absolutely brilliant stuff here so far. Now we have a full-on fight between On Grind and Overpeakers. Dawn not going to be an appropriate obstacle to hide behind here as Verbatim spots them. Oh, Team Elite tries to save his teammate and gets rewarded with a frag grenade. Michael really racking up the points this game.
They sure are, the 2 of them working well together. Stay alive for as long as possible. They've kind of been playing backs against the wall ever since they committed to.
Ликвидам надо убить вот этого мужчину, и все у них будет в порядке. Тех закроют, я думаю.
In the meantime, single player left
Вот и
alive
все.
with a two-story building available, and now he's dead because I have the powers to kill people with what I see.
Well, we have 2 members of Pink Venom on the outside of this broken wall. And overpeakers, I don't know to what extent they know they're there. They know that a team was there, but I'm not sure how much they know they moved in. And that's going to be interesting to find out, especially if Phase 7 hard shifts to the north or east and all of them have to move. That would be rough.
Michael's prone down, just waiting for audible cues. Again, I mean, they know they're going to be outnumbered. I'm not sure if they actually fought Austrian force earlier up here, but they are well aware that there is a presence on the other side of that bridge line. And I think they're just, not risking anything. Again, Michael, no vest. He needs the element of surprise in any firefight he's taking. Having said that,
Пацаны в том домике еще поживут.
Best Austrian force here. They have the
Пошли пушить.
to their disposal. And all of a sudden,
Ой, хорошо!
In the meantime, Mexi,
Мэкси в ноге, правда, его могут поднять.
And Clip joining forces and making the peek around. Austrian force does get a knock, but
Им надо сейчас в крайний домик забуриться.
it's just
Ну, у них там дальше open, дальше они играть никуда не могут.
when you can make plays like
Надо ждать, пока пинки с АФами зафайтятся.
True. Yes, reset game. Remake. I feel like they were close enough to each other on the map that it counted for something, though.
Oh my god, not again.
I wonder if that could have been
Knock again. Нет, это не knock again.
bullet penetration.
Это был повтор.
Double headshot.
I wonder if you could hit 2 knocks with their own, because they were lined up perfectly for it too.
Right? This is it my imagination or 9 out of 10 highlights today being bolty shots?
I mean, I'm not against
They've been
it.
so good.
Not against it.
So good. Ох уж эти мужчины. Но им надо варда поднимать.
To continuous dealing damage, but again, they still have to. I mean, while they're looking down towards overpeakers, and that's all good and dandy, they still have to worry about fellas. They've heard them fighting on the east side. They must know that there are still snakes on the hillside.
Дальше в домик надо проходить.
And Pink Pony are playing this super smart, by the way. Like, they've got more territory than everyone else. And you might be thinking, they're on the low ground. Why don't they try and fix that? Because everyone else is fighting for the privilege of being the team that goes in to fight them. Like, Pink Pony at the moment can conserve so much of their utility by simply not getting involved in this high ground fight.
Peeks on over again. Nates. If they weren't aware already, you'd have to think that at this point, they know something's happening. Everyone's been forced to move forward, and fortunately right now for fellas, Pink Pony are looking the other direction, not really wanting a third party on this one. Rhino luck is slow now that shots are being fired, not just utility being used. This way, Vasco finds Rustenma.
Чтобы пинки выиграли, надо хоть кого-то, чтобы забрали ребята из филы. Сейчас пока тут у них закусились все, как бы они ликвидов не пропустили в спину.
You've got you pinned down to the north and you move down south. Pink Pony, they're not fully engaging. They're just holding the position. And Rhino Lock finally gets Pink Pony's first kill of a while against the fellas. They've decided to act.
Exactly. Austrian force fortunate that.
Ну, пинки могут выиграть вообще, я думаю. Если единственное, только тут ликвиды могут очень хорошо подсосаться под какой-то файт. И наоборот, АФы могут подсосаться, когда пинки будут закрывать ликвидов. Тут на тоненького, конечно.
Yep.
So for overpeakers, how do you make landfall in the next one? And for Austrian force, that push downhill ain't gonna be easy, but it's something that has to be done.
Interesting psychology here now for Pink Pony. They could just keep firing uphill towards Austrian force and force them to move into overpeakers. Oh man.
And Gary with the off angle. Their Clip has nowhere to be safe. I mean, that house is just not granting him the cover.
Ну, они трупы, короче.
Or they could do what they're doing now.
Без вариантов.
Now we're not just going to shoot Austrian force. We actually need every point we can get So let's try and get the points onto overpeakers as well, because we don't know how many of them we'll need on the final leaderboard.
And here comes the
Без
utility silence
вариантов.
points mixed with the last, and
Всё.
now 4 versus 3 Austrian force won
У
the
пинков
first game
позиция
today.
лучше,
Would be sweet for
на
them
мой
if they could
взгляд.
go back and win the last one as well. Vasco still got bullets in the arm, but does not have a helmet. As I say that, finds one.
Ну как, на мой взгляд, тут объективно она намного лучше, как бы эти ребята из-за зоны, а там у ребят лоу-граунд, где откуда они могут пикать вообще без проблем. Ай! Ой! Я думал, все, ошибка.
They would swap for the arm for just a shot or two, but not gonna have, and trades going both ways. Vasco now down to blue as well. So unfortunate. Pains. Solo player left alive. 1v3. You'd have to pull up some sort of miracle to stay alive here. Does find one. Does he find the second one? No. 32 HP. Trying to stay alive. 18 HP. Now Molly's coming in too. Sprint to the blue, and he goes down to exactly that. 12 kills for Pink Pony, and what a hard-fought win for them.
Really well played from a positional perspective, deciding who.
Ну, нормальную последнюю сыграли. Я бы хотел еще глянуть таблицу, конечно, перед тем, как уходить. Как там в итоге дела обстоят?
Couldn't have said it any better myself. Pink Pony, a team that we've seen aggress at the wrong times in the past, causing their defeat. This time around, similar to the ways of Entropic in their Wrangle win, Pink Pony held their horses, for long enough on numerous occasions that they always came out victorious. And not just that, but always came out victorious without taking any casualties, which ended up playing a massive factor, because as soon as overpeakers were down, they could spread out, they could take control, and essentially get themselves the win.
So 12 kills and the winners by several lengths in this game. I don't know what that does to the points total, but I do know they'll be extremely happy with the way that day ended. Well done, Big Pony. Back to the analyst desk.
Look at Toby galloping away with the pony puns there. Of course, they did win the chicken dinner, but what I want to talk about is specifically Austrian Force, because they've had a cracker of a day. They start by winning the first game. They have consistently placed up there, getting the points, getting the double-digit kills where they can. They were holding that fourth spot and holding it steady Avenger, and now obviously coming second, that's going to keep them in that fourth spot as well.
Давай уже сам катай. Куда сам катай?
Really impressive from them. Not necessarily a team I would have.
Самому уже отдыхать надо идти.
No, it's really good to see them out there, honestly. The way they have been rotating today, the way that they've been
Ладно, ребят.
defending some situations where...
Я думаю, что можно на этом заканчивать. Всем спасибо за компанию, спасибо, что смотрели. Завтра вечером тогда, если никаких форс-мажорных обстоятельств не случится, то обязательно завтра посмотрим группу Б, тоже 6 игр, вечерком. Может быть, Скуп присоединится, чтобы не я не один был. Так что спасибо вам за просмотр. Приятного вечера. Хорошего завтра дня. Завтра у нас пятница. Пятница, вечер. Всем спасибо. До завтра. Увидимся. Пока-пока. А, вот таблица, кстати. Таблица и пинки... А, это за эту игру. Давайте сейчас дождемся тогда таблицы за...
This works out to average kills. Here we go. Here's the kills from the last match.
Sorry, yeah, I'm misreading it. I'm bamboozled by our average kills overall. Bamboozled completely. But yeah, so Pink Pony being able to move across the road and then kind of sweep how they did was very important in this game as a whole. But nice to also see the fellas doing something. Those good fellas.
The fellas from the team, not just.
Давайте фалос уже.
Oh, the 1K club.
Here we go, Avenger. Do you want to jump in on this? He's going to be very happy with that, and that is impressive from a damage point of view.
I love how the picture that Silas has gotten taken of him is like when you tell him you've gotten 10 kills in this game. That is his reaction. You've got 1,000 damage in this game. That is his reaction. It's just like really smiley. That like it's just beautiful. Nice to see Silas up there. The only 1K club that we've seen today, a little bit of a comparison between Pains and Ruslan was here, fellas. Really close to 1K as well. 4 and
Походу, я не дождусь.
Quite impressive, and I will say that if fellas managed to stay 4 guys alive in that situation, I actually feel like they would have been able.
Алло, hello. Включите уже таблицу, падлы. Там просто Артикс мощный, хочется посмотреть, какое место у него там.
So you can see there some of the stats from Pains, but I have to say, and I mean I did say it earlier, I just think fellas, Kylars, I wish we had seen them at the beginning of the year. I think that this is
А что такое качество мощное?
Some exciting shakeups in the usual sort of top level PUBG Europe teams that we've seen.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because it's always a case of a what if, because a lot of these players, you know, be they on other teams before and really having the opportunity to now form this in prior lives almost.
Да что тебе таблица? Он оторвался на 8 поинтов от 15-го. Скоп, как думаешь? Там еще 6 игр. Есть шанс у Артикса пройти дальше? Есть шанс вообще в топ-8 зайти у них? Как думаешь? Не, проходка, я думаю, 8. Раз 2 группы, А и Б. По 16, значит 8. А, 4... А, там прямые инвайты, что ли, какие-то есть или что? То есть, если отсюда из этой группы... Подожди, как? Там же 2 группы. 8 команд, а остальные 8 кто? Еще игры потом? А что-то я сейчас посмотрел ПКС, типа только 2 группы показывает, типа только А и Б. Или тут вообще другая какая-то... Другая система. Лузеры играют? То есть здесь у нас 8 финалистов из 2 групп, а потом все остальные еще играют. Потом еще 6 проходит. Типа там будет ВВЦД, что ли? Топ-16. Арти хорош. Ну да, тут без шансов. Тут без шансов. Ладно. Все, таблицу увидели. Всем спасибо. Давайте до завтра. Спокойной ночи. Пока-пока.